We're live. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Claret and Booze Up, back on our usual Friday night slot. I'm Nick, and I'm joined as usual by Gary and John. And due to a last-minute fitness issue that has seen Dave miss a show, Chris Miles has kindly blessed us with his presence and stepped in at short notice. And I really appreciate that, Chris. How are you, mate?
Very well, thank you. Pity Dave's not on, but he'll be on for the post-match after we've beaten them 4-0.
So. He will. He'll be on. How about you, Gary? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just surviving the cold. It's lovely and warm here in the shed, though. Actually,
are you still in the wagon, or have you?
No, I'm having a couple of vodkas tonight. But I'll tell you what, I went a bit strong last Friday, so I'm taking it easy.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. And of course, like Chris, with a voice box fully restored to its former glory. How are you, John?
I'm brilliant, mate. I'm raring to go. I'm got a few notes I'm gonna sing later on. So yeah, I'm back fighting, mate. Yeah, I'm all good.
All right, good stuff. All right, on to the agenda for this evening. First off, as we've got no games to review from the past week, we're going to fly straight into the Claret and Booze news. And Gary's got 3 juicy stories for us to dissect, or at least I hope they're juicy, Gary. I've not seen them yet.
Juicy-ish.
And then John's going to mock the footballing week before we move on to our transfer centre feature. We've got 3 really interesting players to review this week, all heavily linked in. It's a busy period for West Ham in terms of transfer links, isn't it? But for me, all of these ones that we're reviewing today, these 3, they would make fantastic additions. So stick around for those. And then we're going to move on to the big weekend clash at Old Trafford against Man United, where, you know, we're going to go into intricate detail about how we're going to dismantle that once mighty, but now a bit flaccid, let's be honest, Man United team.
Yeah.
Before closing with our Premier League predictor. So Gary, let's get on with the show. Over to you to kick us off with the news, mate. Off you go.
Excellent. Thank you. So welcome to Claret and Booze News. Now, as we all know, most of the West Ham news this week is dominated by transfer speculation. Most of it crap, in my opinion. Yesterday we might be in for Nat Phillips, maybe Brereton Diaz from Blackburn. But as Nick said, we'll cover that later in the show. So we'll do some different things. We're going to sort of change it up a little bit. 2 of these 3 stories are transfer related, but taking a different slant on it. So first, we're going to start off with goals of fun. How goals are fun. So Goal King Moyes. This is taken almost directly or completely directly from Nigel Khan on his brilliant fanzine website, 6foot2.co.uk. So if you haven't joined yet, please go ahead and subscribe. I found this week it's a good source of news. So as Nigel, one of his favourite sayings are goals are good, and we see lots of them. In fact, we see more goals from this David Moyes team than we've seen under any previous modern-day manager, all the way back and including Harry Redknapp. Harry's 3 scoring teams had a goals-to-games ratio of 1.2. The attacking flair of Manuel Pellegrini's side delivered 1.28 goals per game. And as you'd expect down the bottom, we see Sam Allardyce with 1.13. And propping up the table of Billy Bonds, Pardew and Zola. Billy Bonds, he went through some difficult times, didn't he? So we forgive him. 1.12 goals per game each. However, sitting proudly at the top is David Moyes, top of the pile with a goals to game ratio of 1.58. And even though he doesn't have many what can be termed as out-and-out strikers, in fact, many of his goals have come from midfield or reformed wingers, such as Michail Antonio and Marko Arnautovic. When you look at this week's barometer, so as you can see in the bottom left here, this week's barometer, it charts our progress versus the previous season. You can see that while we're slightly below where we were last year in terms of points, our goal difference is only down by 1. So it's another free scoring season, really. It suggests, actually, that the problem lies elsewhere other than goal scoring. And it's no surprise that we've started leaking a few goals lately, which has kind of affected that goal difference. So, really, the point of this is, do we need a striker? We're scoring goals, so do we need a new striker? My personal view is that Antonio is pivotal to the way the team sets up and the way we play. Even when he's not scoring regularly, his presence is important in the way we set up. Bullies defenders, brings others into play, etc. So for me, the argument is not that we need a striker to score more goals than Antonio, but I think we need a striker another striker available, at least, who's at the standard or above the standard of Antonio, because otherwise you're just putting too much load on Antonio. But anyway, I won't give too much of my opinion. I'm going to hand this across to Chris. So Chris, do we need a striker?
It's interesting about a striker because it's what's the definition of a striker anyway? Because how many teams are using strikers? When you mentioned that we were doing that earlier on, I was thinking about the lineups of all these teams that we've been playing, and not many. Leeds don't have an out-and-out striker. They played with 3 up front or 3 moving around.
Well, they do normally with Bamford.
Yeah, but that's not how they're running at the moment. And it's and Harrison, showed what he could do. As a guy that's never even scored more than 1 goal in a game, and and managed to do that, which was unbelievable. And I just think it's I'm just wondering if we're obviously wanting a striker because that's the position we've put Antonio into. But I noticed you'd come up with that idea today of having 3 up front, and I thought initially that's just sort of giving in because Antonio's not scoring anymore. But you do need to move your players around to their best position, and Antonio does often drift wide intentionally. It's not because he's forgetting where he is. He drifts out wide, and he put some very interesting balls in actually, and he did against Leeds when he drifted out wide, out to the left.
It's natural for him, isn't it, to do that? I think
it does seem to be, but he's good at it because he does like taking people on, and as long as he's not thinking too much, he usually does something with it.
I think that surely complements the way we play, though. And him pulling out wide, when he pulls out wide, he creates spaces for other players, and it's just not an out-and-out striker, a traditional striker role as we would know it, is it?
I think where you that's where you probably I'm going to say this now. That's where you miss Souček, because when Antonio does peel off, there's not too many players that do make runs into the box. Souček is one of them. So Souček will make those runs into the box when he's playing. So I think when he's not there, you kind of you do miss that threat. I will say that about Souček. But I think with Antonio and Bowen, though, I think they're still our only 2 natural wingers. I think they are. I think Bowen's our only natural winger. I don't think maybe Ben Rama is, but up against the best fullbacks, I don't think so. I think Vlasic is a little bit too. I think Vlasic. We've got too many number 10s. I think Vlasic, Fornals, and Lanzini are all number 10s, aren't they?
Yeah. But that's fine. Go back to the question: do we need a striker?
Yeah.
Or do we need to think about a 3 up front formation? Look at Liverpool again. And look at Man United with Ronaldo has sort of taken that line on, although he's a law unto himself anyway. And I'm not sure if it's doing them the favours that that it should be doing. When they had Fernandes doing.
But I think what it is, Chris. I think with us, even though we talk about Antonio pulling out wide, you don't just look at his goals. You look at his assists and the way that he helps. The way that he helps the team now. Antonio's presence up front is massive for us. And I don't think you do get the same when it's Bowen when Antonio's not playing. Even when Antonio's not playing well, he's a presence. He's kind of he's occupying players. Even if he's he's having a bad game because he's got 2 defenders on him, he's occupying players. So for me anyway, it's a no-brainer. We need another striker. I think we do.
What do you reckon, John?
I think from my perspective, obviously goals are paramount, but we're scoring goals as you've highlighted there, and as Nigel says, goals are fun, right? And the thing for me is, I think we need another striker for protection for Antonio. And I don't just mean physically, but I mean mentally as well. Because I think what's happening is that he has become a little bit of, quite understandably, he's become the obvious target for people that are very frustrated at our lack of buying a striker. And I get that, right? I totally get that. But the thing is that I can't get away from is that, okay, he is our top Premier League goal scorer of all time. I'm not saying he means he doesn't get criticised or shouldn't get criticised. Of course he should. If someone has a bad game, you say, look, we think he had a bad game. That's not what I'm saying. But I think there is occasions when Moyes leaves him on the pitch and he's absolutely shot to pieces. He leaves him on the pitch because in Moyes' mind, there's no one else to bring on for him. And as much as that's understandable, we'll talk about the size of the squad and transfers later on, I'm guessing. But as much as that's understandable, that is damaging to Antonio. And I've said it for a couple of seasons. I think physically we're damaging him because, all the muscle pulls and all the injuries that he's had he's been all right recently to some extent, but I think we need it more for his protection than anything else.
He's playing on apparently he's playing on painkillers at the moment, Antonio.
Well, that would not surprise you, would it?
That's worrying, and that's where it comes back to my point. I don't think we need a replacement for Antonio. It'd be brilliant if we could if we had the money to go and buy Schick for 40 or 50 million or whatever, or one of the others like Jonathan David. That'd be brilliant. But then that'd be a signing, sort of pivotal marquee signing where you're going to shape the team around the player. But I don't think we need that at this point. I think we just need someone who's going to be a backup, an equivalent to Antonio, somebody that can take the load, share the load with Antonio. Because we ain't going to go, and surely we're not going to go another half a season without Antonio getting injured, are we? If he's on painkillers at the moment, it's surely not.
It would be a miracle. It would be a miracle because I think the position that he plays and the way that we play him, I think it's the most strenuous position on the pitch.
Yeah.
He's going up against two big physical centre backs, and like I say, he don't play well every game. He don't, and sometimes he is off the pace. His touch is terrible. But a lot of the time when he has bad games, it is because he's just being marked out of the game. And he's I say even when he's having a bad game, he's occupying players.
So what about your idea of the three up front rather than the typical striker then? So you go the Liverpool route or you go the Leeds route or the Leeds as we played. And Rafinha is their biggest goal scorer as well. Remember at Leeds,
he is. But we'll talk about the Man United game after. But my thoughts were against Man U. Look, they're there to be got at. We'll get into that later on. But I think what we've got to do is pack the midfield. I think we do need Rice and Souček sitting. And what my plan was to go the false nine. So if you play four in midfield effectively, so you've almost got Rice and Souček, Fornals and Lanzini in there as well with central midfielders, number 10s, false nine, whatever. And then you push Bowen, you push Antonio out wide to the left, not out wide as an inside forward, and Bowen on the right. And what that does is that gives you that kind of that wide attacking threat, and maybe don't put so much onus on them to track back because we've got so many bodies in the middle. Leave them up there as a pacey kind of and the things I think that's where Antonio and Bowen are more comfortable rather than running at two big blokes. They're more comfortable running at fullbacks. That's what they like doing.
That's more like the Liverpool kind of City way of playing as well.
Yeah. So
Sterling out there, you got Foden in the middle, sort of. Yeah, like a centre forward when it counts, but not because he's sitting back and what we saw, different players. I'll grant you, but and
what we saw from Fornals in that game, because I know you didn't really notice a lot of what he done, Gary. But one thing that Fornals is good at is seeing a pass. Fornals can see and execute a pass, and he does it quickly. And he's the best in our team at that. He's the best in our team. He's him
and Rice are definitely the best passers.
Yeah. So like I say, he's got lots of options, Moyes. He has got lots of options, but we'll get onto that game later, though.
Yeah.
We need a striker. We need a striker.
And who? Because that's always the key, isn't it? Is who to back up Antonio? That's a big ask, isn't it?
Well, I think we're all agreeing, though. We don't particularly need to go out and spend mega bucks on a really expensive striker, even though that'd be nice. We do need someone of the level of Antonio who's going to be able to be a good backup.
Again, I disagree with you there. I think we need to go out and buy not the same level, or that shouldn't be our target to go out and buy the same level. We should go out and try and get the best striker that we can get. At the end of the day, it doesn't. I'm not saying that I've got a problem with Antonio because I haven't. Yeah. But if we ever get the opportunity to improve on a position, we want to get better as a football team, right? Mm-hmm. So that means that if we can improve, we should go out. We shouldn't go backwards. We should try and buy better players.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
So but it's whether or not we're going to spend that money, isn't it?
Well, I think we're all agreed. It's interesting to hear Moyes' comment today. So just confirming that the board have backed him and said, basically he can tell them who he wants and they'll go and get it. They'll go and get the player. So I don't know whether to believe that or not.
I think that's easier said than done, though, isn't it?
I think so.
It's always easy.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not he actually goes and gets a striker and this ain't me digging him out. This is his 6th window now, and he's only ever bought one striker. It is going to be interesting to see what he does because
it's all about availability though, and I still think this sort of false nine or these three up the front. I think Moyes may start having that in mind, and Although if he did have it in mind, then the question is, why hasn't he used Yarmolenko in that kind of a attack phase as well? But
yeah, no, I know.
Well, the thing is, I think if he could have got Lingard back, he probably wouldn't even bother with a striker. So with a striker or a good attacking midfielder who's used to playing up front would fit the profile as well. But look, we need bodies. We need bodies. That's the thing. We need bodies, good bodies. And there are bodies out there. I know it's difficult to sign players, but other clubs seem to manage it. So we should as well.
He's got a lot of pressure on him. I think like you, I think he's going to do in this last week. This is when I'm going to judge him. I have been moaning about the window. Not more. I'm frustrated. I just want to get players. Yeah, I know, but it's only because I'm frustrated.
So much, though, Nick.
It's only because look, that's all it is. You know, I still partly believe that Moyes is going to get the players in. I do think he will, but I just think it's going to be late.
Yeah,
you've got to remember in these transfer windows that the sellers will be holding out. It's like when you sell your house, you hold on until the last open day, don't you? And you are going to hold out. We've just got to remember that.
I'm going to touch on that with the next story, which is keep calm and carry on. So calm or naive. So as you know, zero activity in the transfer window so far from West Ham. The same was true in the last window in the summer, where we did all of our business last week or even in the last couple of days. So this seems to be the preferred approach of David Moyes, but also in transfer windows gone past, David Sullivan. They both like a bargain and they don't like to pay over the odds. I think they do it because as the window moves to its close, clubs and players tend to be more willing to do a deal and less willing to encourage the agents to create a bidding war. I can't say whether it's right or wrong. It seems to have worked so far to a greater or lesser extent. But there is one thing that bothers me, and I heard it reported earlier in the week that I've heard this from two different places now, and that is that Sullivan is innocent. He's sitting there waiting for Moyes and Newman to hand him their list so that he can get on with the business. Well, you know, if this is the case, then there's only one thing I can put it down to. Well, maybe two things. Either it's Moyes wanting to wait, like we think, or it's Moyes knowing Sullivan too well and trying to force his hand rather than go down the usual path, which to me is Moyes asks Sullivan for a player. Sullivan tells everyone that he can manipulate in the press that the player has unreasonable demands, and then offers Moyes a preferred alternative, usually via his preferred agent, Will Salthouse. By the way, Will Salthouse, bit of information for you. Back in October, his company was involved in a merger. Apparently now he has access to over 300 plus players on his books. So again, that must be something that Moyes is aware of, and you know very well whatever profile of player Moyes wants, Salthouse is going to have someone to fit that profile, isn't he? So look, as we see Aston Villa do their business quickly and efficiently, happily paying the going rate for all and sundry, I need to ask, is it right to take the calm approach and wait to get the right player at the right price, or is it naive? And should Moyes just not care about spending the going rate and just go all out to target the expensive players that he wants? So, John, this is for you. Is it right to be calm or is it naive?
I think that Chris sort of touched on it briefly a minute ago. I think that, as we know, January is always a bad time to buy in terms of players are inflated. And when a selling team knows that you're in for a particular position, i.e. a striker, when you come knocking, the price will inflate. Okay. What we've also now got on top of that is probably a little bit of agents doing is that you've got the Newcastle factor. So now, not only is it inflated because it's January, it's also inflated because allegedly, Newcastle, who have got money to burn, are now in for this player as well. So for me, it's a little bit. I'm not sitting on the fence, right? But I understand the being calm with it all. I understand trying to get the best price available, if you like. But there is the other argument is that if your chairman is saying there's 40 million, go and get a 40 million pound striker, if that's the figure, for example, then there is the other argument of why not just go and do it. And I think that it's interesting because what's his name? Eddie Howe was having an interview with Jim White on TalkSport this morning, right? Yeah. And even Jim White said to him, he said, in the January transfer window, especially now you're in charge of Newcastle and you've got loads of zeros in the bank, how have you found it going and approaching and trying to get players. Now, we know they've bought Trippier, okay? We know they've paid well over the odds for Woods, right? They've paid well over the odds for Woods.
25,
no doubt about it. Even he said we have to be careful as a club. Even though they've got that money, he's their manager. And he was basically saying we need to be careful. We don't want to be, not ripped off, it wasn't the phrase he used, but we need to know their worth, both financially and what they can do for this club. So even he, with that endless pit of money, if you like, even he had a sense of be careful, don't just go out and buy everyone willy-nilly. So it was quite interesting to hear that, because he could quite easily just go out and say, I want A, B, C, D. You know what I mean?
Just 2 transfers is all they've done.
Sorry?
It's only Trippier and Wood is all they've done.
Only 2 transfers. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Wood's probably twice as much as they should have paid for him, let's be honest. But, they got Trippier for a fair price. I just think that it's very difficult because Moyes, Moyes has got the reputation. This is the problem. His reputation precedes him. So no matter what he says, there'll always be people in a certain camp, which is fine. I'm not criticising those people that will say he's differing or he's being naive or he's too hurry up. But I've said it from day one of the window. I said it on Facebook. I said it elsewhere. Most deals are done last week of the window, if not later. Yeah. It's always been the same. It's never been any different. I know we're desperate, and you could say we should go out on day one, but even of the players that have been bought by Premier League clubs, how many of them were we actually even wanted? How many of the players that have been bought by Premier League clubs would we have taken? But going back
to what Gary said, though, John, it's one thing not making your final signings until the end of the window, but is it acceptable to not even have your target sort of up, ready and queued up, and have your mind made up until the last week?
Nick.
Well, I'm just going.
Right. The problem is for a lot of us as football fans, not knowing kills us, right? And some people more than others. We always used to moan that all these leaks used to come out in the press and things like that. And now, because less is coming out, if you like, people are getting more understandably, what's going on? I need to know what's going on. Don't get me wrong.
5 years ago, Sullivan used to publish his list just so that the fans were happy. And now he's stopped doing it.
Yeah, exactly that, Chris. Exactly that. And just because I'm not frothing at the mouth,
this is a brilliant comment, by the way.
Yeah,
that is
it's true, isn't it? Yeah. What I mean,
but that's not us. And like I say, for me, especially now with the players that we're being linked with now, which we'll go on to after, which are quite exciting, and now you can kind of see there's logic to it. Yeah, if we get the business done in the last week, and that'll be fine, that'll be great. Everything we put to bed. Yeah. But if we're only active in that last week and we don't manage to sign those players, you can't use they weren't available as an excuse, because you've got an entire transfer window in which to operate. And what I'm saying is, John, I've said it to you before. It's very well Moyes keeping his cards close to his chest. We're not putting offers in for players is because Moyes will keep it quiet. He'll cut the leaks out. But the minute you put an offer in for a player, that player's got an agent. That agent will go out, and his job is to make the most money that he possibly can. So the minute you make an offer for a player, it's in the media, it's everywhere else. We've made no fucking offers yet. We haven't. Now, if it doesn't, look, it might be fine. It might be okay. But if for whatever reason we don't get what we need in this last week, then if that is how it goes, I won't be very happy.
Yeah, but Nick, the only thing I'd say about that, you're talking about the player that they're trying to buy. First and foremost, they have to agree on a price with the club. So no offer will be made to a player or a club until the club and the club selling agree on a price, right? And like Chris said, look, let's just briefly go on to Championship players, right? There's some good players in the Championship, but what you'll find is 90% of the players that you may buy from the Championship are playing for teams that are challenging for promotion. So not only have you got the inflation of January, you've got the inflation of they know what you want, and you've got the inflation of them thinking, well, if we sell this guy, we may not get promoted. Right, just as an example. I know there's more.
But John, what is qualifying? And I'm not saying that we're even in that, even though we're in the top 4. What is qualifying for the Champions League worth?
40 million.
40 million. So what I'm saying is, it's like Newcastle. Newcastle, they've gone out, they've spent 25 million over the odds on Chris Woods. If he scores the goal that keeps him up, he's paid them back. Now, with us, as far as I'm concerned, in January, where the teams that are active, I'm amazed at Aston Villa because they're mid-table. Normally, the teams that are active in January are the ones that are fighting for their lives and the ones that are at the top that need to fill. People say, oh, well, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, they're not buying players. They haven't got the gaps that we've got. We've got blatant gaps in our squad. We're sitting there whenever Antonio clutches his ankle, we're shitting ourselves. Cresswell, look at what's happened to us because we lost a couple of centre backs. It's literally, and we're lucky that hasn't spread throughout the team because we've only got to start an 11, John. That's all we've got.
So would you have, taking Villa for example, and we're saying, they've done great. Would you have taken Coutinho for?
Yes. No. Well, no.
Exactly. He doesn't fit in. No, actually, he fits into Villa.
Chris, I would have because he's going to be this season's Lingard. He will be. So I would have taken something on a loan deal. I would have.
Can I just say something? Talking about Villa, right? Whether you like it or not, Gerrard is a bigger name than Moyes.
Yeah, right? He's a massive problem.
Right? Yeah. And also, he is, right, to young players, they probably don't even know David Moyes played half these people that you might be linked with. Right? They've got no idea of his background as a player or anything. Gerrard's called in favours him from his mate, Coutinho. Once you bring someone like Coutinho in, then it can become a domino effect. So the name Gerrard has a pulling factor within itself. And you can probably get business done. Without Gerrard, do you think they would have got Coutinho?
But what I'm saying is,
would we even want him as a Barcelona reject at the moment? And Barcelona aren't pulling up much at the moment either. I'm not sure I don't think any of us would have thought anything of it until he's now gone to a competitor. Same with Lucas. 25 million for Lucas Digne. I thought, bloody hell, that's that's 10 million at least more than what I thought.
I know, but the thing is,
we would have done that.
But Chris, with Lucas Digne, now I think everyone, I think in the modern game, the fullbacks is one of the most important positions that you can have, even for us. Look at us when we lost Cresswell. For instance, okay, they are a massive part of the.
And look at the difference Soufal has made to that right back position. When we were struggling under people like Sam Byram, and then we had I forgot his name from Man City, and we struggled. We struggled for 10 years to get somebody decent in that position. Ever since Joey O'Brien was the last decent right back. But
Luca Digne, Chris, Luca Digne is, for me, and I know people are saying, he fell out with a manager. There's always, wherever Benitez goes, Benitez falls out with someone. And the crazy thing is, they've sold one of their best players off the back of a manager that they was going to get rid of a few days later. He's a brilliant player, and he's a decorated international. He's won loads, and I'm not saying that we should go out and pay 160 grand a week, because that was a problem. Apparently, it was 160 grand a week thing. But look, at the end of the day, when you are operating at the top of the league, it's all relevant, because if you want to be a Champions League team, you're going to be making a shitload of money as a club, and if you want to stay there, you got to get these players. That's why these players earn that money. That is why they earn that money.
Villa ain't getting into the Champions League. I mean, they might if they do well, if all these signings come off, if Gerrard is as good as
they're building for next season, Gary. They're building for next season.
Yeah, of course.
If Gerrard is the genius that you think he is, and he's a fantastic manager and everything else, to me, he's just an unproven manager at the moment. He's a big name, but he's an unproven manager in the Premier League. You know how quickly it can go wrong in the Premier League. Look at Frank Lampard, right? You could land up out in your arse, but he might turn out to be brilliant. But he does have the pulling power, like you said, John. Apparently, there's rumours Suarez is going to come in over the summer as well. Right? He's pulling in all the favours, and he's going to massively inflate his wage bill, which is going to mean that he's got hardly anything to spend in terms of financial fair play on the rest of the squad. So you're going to end up with, Suarez up front, Coutinho in the middle, and Tyrone Mings playing centre half at the back.
Gary. All they spent in the summer was they spent the money they got from Grealish. What they're spending now is a full Windows money. They're not getting themselves in debt.
But you can't exceed your wage bill. That's the thing. Your wage bill has got to be in proportion with your revenue. And so if you're paying Lucas Digne, a left back, 160 grand a week, how much you're paying Coutinho? How much you're going to pay Suarez when he comes here? What, 300 grand a week, 350 grand a week? What are you going to do? Before you know it, these few players add up.
Gary, I'm not saying that I want us to sign Luis Suarez. What I'm saying to you is, a few years ago, and I know this player didn't work out, little old West Ham, who we should be way more attractive now than what we was back then. We went out and we got one of the best talents in strikers in European football, in Haller. That didn't work out. but he was sought after. We went out, we got him because Pellegrini, one thing I will say about him is he set his mind on a player, and he was obviously more forceful than what Moyes is. And he went and got him. Now Moyes must have the same ideas. Moyes must have players like that he sees and thinks, well, I want that player. He needs to be a little bit more forceful and get those players in.
Yeah, but I don't think any of us know the dynamic and the relationship.
Yeah, we need to have that conclusion after February. You know, when we know what's happened. Because we don't know. We've got just remember that out of the 20 Premier League teams, I think it's 13 or 14 have not bought any players in.
For me, last week,
there's a long way to go yet.
For me, I'm assuming that he's just being calm and he's waiting for the right opportunities to get the right player, right? If we get to the end of this transfer window and he's signed nobody, then I'm going to have the right ump.
It's not acceptable at that point, and it isn't. And then at that point, he can't use the excuse, right, that the players weren't available, because do you know what? We know he's only really active. Yeah, he's obviously got his list and this, that, the other, but he's only really active and makes a push in that last week. That is what he does, and we know that because that is a trend with David Moyes throughout history. And like you said, John, a lot of managers, but few teams are in West Ham's position whereby we need to fill these gaps. Not many other teams have got these gaps that we've got.
Well, as that European competition wears on, and we're going to play against some very serious teams, hopefully quite a few of them, right? And when we do, we're going to have very few weaknesses. We're not going to be able to play with a missing centre half or no striker up front or something like that.
He's not going to be able to play a B+ team, Gary.
Exactly. We've got to have the equivalent of our A team to put out. So we don't only need
competitions to compete in, haven't we?
Yeah. Sorry, John. Go on. Oh,
I just want to go back. Sorry, I just want to go back to just quickly. Pellegrini was able to get Haller more easier than Moyes would have done, because Pellegrini's won the Premier League, and he was esteemed manager in terms of names, right?
No, but a lot of it comes down to money as well, because we paid Haller what he wanted. We paid Yarmolenko what he wanted. Moyes won't do that.
Okay, but you did you truly believe that on day one of the transfer window we was going to have players through the door? Because I never.
No. I think we should have. I think for me, in the situation that we was in, where we was pushing the position that we was in, with the situation defensively, we've got Newman and we've got these other players for even just a centre back, John, just a left-sided centre back.
I genuinely don't think you can tie a deal up in the first day. You might be able to get Coutinho or Digna, but these players aren't anywhere near what we need.
That would be the question for me.
Digna isn't anywhere near what we need.
No, it's not. It's not. No. If you put him in a list out of 100 players, you wouldn't have even put him in the top 30 for what we needed. Digna possibly, because
Digna is a better player than Cresswell.
Not with Cresswell back.
No, Chris. Digna is a better player than Cresswell.
But I think the problem.
Yeah, but does he fit in the team? This is a disruptive player. Does he fit in our West Ham team? Which we've said loads of times. It's not just about skill; it's about personality and team fit.
I'll play. I want to play devil's advocate, right?
I love Cresswell, but Digna is a better left back.
Yeah, but not necessarily within the team. It's about playing in a team. Remember, you know what football's like. It's just not like chess pieces. They're all equivalent. They've got to play together, and that's a massive risk, upsetting a team and taking the whole dynamic.
Chris, you know what is also a risk is doing nothing. And then your season falls.
Well, we can only make that. We can only make that conclusion at the end of the month.
It's a sweeping statement to just say Digna is better than Cresswell, because my mind doesn't work like that, right? Because Cresswell, I think, all right, forget the Leeds game.
Cresswell is a great player. I'm not disrespecting Cresswell, but Gary, Digna is a French international, right? He's literally. No. He's a decorated French international. He's a brilliant player.
Hold on. Haller is undoubtedly a better striker than Antonio, but he couldn't play in our team.
But
it's about dynamics, mate. Yeah, think of your kids playing under 16. The best players aren't necessarily the ones you pick. Well, it might be, but it's the ones that play the best in the team.
We're never going to improve unless we try and improve position on position. Cresswell as a left back has been amazing. He's one of our most technically gifted players. We miss him when he's not there. His delivery into the box is amazing, but he lacks pace, Chris. He got roasted the other day. He's got no pace. If somebody with Rafinha turn him inside out and back to front, he's got no pace. Yeah. So
two games back, he'll get roasted. He'll get roasted after just one or two games.
Let John have his say anyway. He's going to play Judge Judy here. Go on, John.
No. Listen, I was a little bit sceptical of Luca Dina, but I do agree with Nick somewhat in so much as in terms of an attacking left back or left wing back, whatever they're called these days, he is a fantastically attacking player, right? Nick agrees with me. Defensively, he leaves a lot of questions to be desired, but then to some extent, so does Cresswell to some extent, right?
He does, yeah.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is, what I was going to say was, I think the speed in which Cresswell come back maybe put Moyes off thinking the need for a left back was even needed. So I'm not saying if Cresswell would have continued to be injured, he would have gone out and got Luca Dean, but I do believe that the speed in which he came back maybe changed his focus elsewhere. Like there's not, so what I mean is we do have coverage. What I'm saying is we do have coverage in. We've got Cresswell. We've got Ben Johnson can sometimes play there.
It weren't our main priority. It weren't our main priority.
Exactly.
With Cresswell coming back. But what I'm saying to you is, like I said to you, it's incremental changes, and we've got a world-class central midfielder in Declan Rice. We've got a great. He has made a good signing in Zuma, bringing him in as well, like a really good centre back. And you know what? Luca Dina would have been our left back for the next 4 or 5 years after Cresswell, because Cresswell ain't gonna last forever.
That's a really good point. You've got 2 or 3 seasons, haven't you? At top with Cress, to be honest.
I don't think you got 2 or 3. I don't think you got 2 or 3 seasons in the first team with Cresswell, mate.
But again, I think there are potentially. We covered these potential left backs in the last couple of weeks, and I still like that Lloyd Kelly. I'd rather have him than Luca Dina. I would.
Yeah, again, the problem is Bournemouth pushing for promotion, isn't it?
No, I just would. I know he's unproven.
I would take Lloyd, Gary. I would take Lloyd Kelly. That would excite me. That's fine. I'm not saying I only wanted Luca Dean. That weren't the case. Lloyd Kelly's a good player as well.
Yeah. Lloyd might be our final day signing. You never know.
It was a good opportunity. That was. But it don't matter.
I think we do need someone, and I think I'd rather get someone who is a very, very good left back, like that. What's his name? Lloyd Kelly, a very good left back, but can also play centre half, right?
Yeah, he would be brilliant. Honestly, if we got Lloyd Kelly, if that's the type of signing I would be happy with. I would be. But it's making signings, and like I say to you, he's putting a lot of pressure on himself now because of the position that we're in. And do you know what? The whole world can see our weaknesses, isn't it? And do you know something? For us to make signings, right, we're not looking for shit players. So if we're dipping into the Championship, we're looking to take their best players. Yeah. And if we're taking the best players, we're probably taking the best players from the best teams. And what that means is you've got the best teams are challenging for Premier League. Yeah, you've got to pay serious money to these teams because they'd rather lose the money than you know.
I agree, Nick. But you're not going to be paying 160 grand a week for Lloyd Kelly, right? Or a number of the other players that we looked at who were left side, who were left backs that can play left centre half as well.
But we don't know that Lloyd Kelly is a Premier League player.
No, we don't. But there were 2 or 3 that we looked at last week where they all had the same attributes, where they were left backs who could also play left centre back. And at the moment, I think that would be a great signing to make. Someone who's going to replace Cresswell maybe next year, right? And this year can sit in as a left-sided centre half.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to get too hung up on Dinya. I'm not saying. That was an example. I would have liked him, but it ain't the end of my world that we haven't got him. But it was a good opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, in the scenario now, Nick, that we go out and get that player that I quite rightly promoted, who I love, as you know, Barrett and Diaz, right? Whose transfer market value is 8 to 10 million. The rumours are today, because Blackburn are pushing for promotion, Blackburn won't listen to offers anything less than 25 million. Now, no matter how much I like him as it's too much. But that's what exactly. But that's what I'm saying to you. So Moyes might really like him, but would you accept him going out and spending 25 million? On that No. I won't accept him going out and spending £25 million on a risk like he did with Vlasic, but I will accept him going out and spending 40 million on a top player. I will accept him going out and spending 40 million on a top player because that is not a risk. Because the thing is, like I say, there is a difference. 25 million for a player that might come good or might not is a lot of money. But if you go out, you know, like we've already all agreed about Haller, right? Yeah. He was a victim of circumstance. If David Moyes went out and bought Haller in this window, Haller would be different. It would be different. You know, he's a good player.
So look, I think we're sort of all
fascinated to see that.
I think it was a good discussion though. That was nice and passionate. I like that. So John, do you want to take us for a few comments before we move to the third and final one?
I'm just going to say that. A few comments. Just going to say a few comments. We'll go back a little bit. I wasn't keen on Diaz until John done his review on him, made him sound like so messy. So he's my number one target. This is obviously when we was talking about strikers. Claire said if we weren't scoring goals from other parts of the pitch, I'd be panicking. It's goal scorers, not necessarily an out-and-out striker, as we know. Antonio.
I think before moving on from that one, John. Before moving on from that one, go back to that one. What we're saying is, Claire, is that Antonio isn't an out-and-out striker, but he's important to the way that we play. He is the reason why we score so many goals, even though he doesn't score them all.
Yeah.
Without Antonio there, and the thing is, we're worried that he's going to break, and we need someone else to back him up. That's why we're saying that we need another striker.
Yeah, and I think we all actually agreed on that. That, which is a strange thing to say.
Yeah, I want another striker to protect Antonio, both sides of the coin, physically, mentally. Do you know what I mean? That's how I see it anyway. So moving on, we've got Jaff. Jaff says they miss Antonio when he's not playing. There's no direct replacement for him. Yeah, that's correct. Nigel says that doesn't look like Dave Hurst, the ex-Sheffield Wednesday and Southampton striker.
False advertisement.
I feel for Antonio is massive. It really is, but he will soon become a scapegoat. Like I was alluding to, I do worry about Antonio and some of the fans being very. I understand their anger, but don't send your anger towards Antonio. Do you know what I mean?
It's the old sort of thing where when he's like the other day against Leeds, he was clearly treading water. He was knackered, right? And some people will interpret that as lazy. It ain't lazy. The guy's knackered.
He's being run into the ground.
He always puts a shift in. Always puts a shift in.
Yeah. So
the funniest bit on that was that there's a geezer near us in the Bobby Moore lower, and last week he was shouting at Antonio for being lazy. The second after he said that, he goes, "Jesus Christ, I need to sit down."
Oh no.
It was just unbelievable. The irony of what he said, and everybody was laughing at him. But
John. I think John almost had a touch up with someone, didn't you, in that game?
No, I'm the most unargumentative person when it comes to football. But
breaking up, John.
Our first ever
John, you're breaking up.
Fan because he was just berating Antonio.
John, you're breaking up.
Kids are on the Xbox.
You're breaking up, John. John, your broadband's all over the place.
That's all right. We'll go on, Gal. Anyway, go on, carry
on. I think. Look, can't agree. Yeah, look, I said that while I was talking, Paul. I think I would love to see us go out and sign an expensive striker. Haller hasn't put me off. I think he was just the wrong player, but I'd love to see us sign Patrick Schick or Jonathan David or someone like that. That to me would be a massive step up on Antonio, and that would lead to playing in a different way. But
Gary, don't it annoy you? Because nothing pisses me off more when they use Haller as an example as to why we should never go out and spend 40 million on a player again.
Oh yeah.
Because if we're going to be ambitious, if you want to be in these places, just because it don't work once, you don't ever do that again. What does that mean?
Every single club makes those mistakes.
Exactly.
Because you've got to try and see how it goes. You know, look at Man United, look at Tottenham for crying out loud, what they did with the Bale money. No, and we must be. You know, we've got to allow Moyes to make mistakes because it's not a science. You've got to see how these people work together. You know, it's not playing Football Manager or FIFA. It is.
Most people would though, Chris. I mean, you would never ever, from me, right? It's like Vlasic. I don't think Vlasic has hit it off, but I'm not slagging Moyes off because he went and spent money on him. Mm-hmm. I won't do that. I will slag him off if he doesn't spend money and it goes bad. But if at the very least, you've got to be seen to be trying, and you've got to be positive. Like I say, I think with Moyes sometimes it does feel a little bit like with him. I mean, he's come out. You know, that's pressure from the board. That statement that he made earlier on, because fan pressure's building. He's come out. He's made that statement because that's pressure from the board to say, look, this is fucking you. It ain't us. You come out. You take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
That's what's happened now. That's what's happened now. I totally agree.
So, John, you left it at Paul Riley. Let's go.
Hang on. Sorry, guys. There we go. That's Paul Riley. Here we go.
Right, I'm going to have a quick break.
Newcastle can't get the players in they want because they're in a relegation fight. Totally agree. Claire said we want it both ways. Whinge when Golden Sullivan told the world, and now it's quiet. We still whinge. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of truth in that. I mean, it's the
Nick's
not
good at
knowing that
whinging.
kills you, isn't it?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Nick's good at whinging. He's good at whinging.
Nick's good at whinging, yeah. Now he's gone, we can say that. Norwich are 2-0 up against Watford.
Yeah, they are.
From Nigel.
Who they play? Who they playing?
Watford.
Our favourite ever team. The two worst teams of the Premier League.
And,
this is
no,
Claret
we're not
again. Claire, unpopular opinion, but maybe we aren't a Champions League team yet. I mean, this goes back to my overachieving sort of thing, and that's the problem. I think because we are overachieving, I think it's difficult to keep up with that. And we were talking to Nick about it in the week. I think that when Moyes came back, the position we're in now, they probably didn't plan for that to happen for another 2 or 3 years, did they?
No, that's right. That's right. I totally agree with you. He is. I said to you the other day, right? Had Moyes come in and we just avoided relegation, and then we achieved 14th place, 12th place, 10th place, a season on season, iterative improvement, everyone would be patting Moyes on the back and saying how well he's done. Unfortunately for him, he got us into Europe, and now we've started to maybe wobble a little bit in that lofty position, and so he's being basically criticised on the overachievement that he did.
Gary, nobody would pat Moyes on the back for a 14th place finish. Nobody would pat him on the back for that.
They would after we nearly got relegated.
It's more of an expectant position, isn't it?
Yeah, nobody would pat him on the back for a 14th place finish.
Nick, if we finish 17th and then we finish 14th, 13th, that would be.
We've been up and down. It ain't like we've been 17th for fucking 10 seasons. We've been up and down, up and down. It ain't like we've always been down there. 15, 16, we finished 7th place.
It's just the principle, Nick. Iterative improvement people would have accepted, right? But what he's done is he's gone straight up and wobbled it a bit while he's up there, right?
Yeah, but he's got an opportunity now, and I want him to grasp it. I do. I think he's onto something, Moyes. He clearly is. He just needs to back himself. He needs to back himself to drive it through. That's what I think.
Go on, a few more comments, John, and we move on.
I think
I was just going to say that one of the reasons I think Moyes has overachieved is because he's got the players that he wants and the team that he wants, and I think we've got to remember that. I think we're overlooking it.
John's having a mare.
John's struggling.
Yeah, John's having a mare.
Go on. Right, yeah, we've done all that. Right, so let's right.
Go on to the next story.
Yeah, we will. Let's do that while John comes back on. Right, story number 3. Excuse me, I'm just navigating. I was trying to find out how to turn the comments off. There you go. So this is one to get the juices flowing. I'm just going to really upset you by playing devil's advocate. You'll like this. So, a common theme in and around football is the general hatred of VAR. It irritates us. We dread a goal celebration being cut short by the big screen. And we hate it when the decision takes minutes rather than seconds in order to work out whether someone's fingertip is offside. For some history, I'll give you some history of VAR to just give you an idea of how this came around. VAR was introduced to the Premier League. It was unanimously voted in by Premier League members for the start of the 2019 to 2020 season, following its successful deployment in the 2018 World Cup. In that World Cup in 2018, out of 99 referees, there was 0 referees from England. That was a direct result of the bad standard of our refereeing. And a standard had just plummeted season on season. It was poor. Our top officials were involved in some outrageous, ridiculous decisions. And I'm going to give you an example, a personal example, because this just wound me up. And this is why I was quite looking forward to VAR coming in, because I thought it'd be a leveller. Back in January 2017, we were at home to Man Utd. We were competing in this game. It was a level game. 15 minutes in, we'd started well. We were looking strong. Sofiane Feghouli slides in with Phil Jones, 50-50 ball. Feghouli got a straight red without even thinking about it from Mike Dean, because that's what Mike Dean used to do. And in the replay, it was clear that if anyone should have been sent off, it was Jones. And Jones is the one who reacted, because he knew what he'd done, by rolling around holding his leg. But Mike Dean, in his little head, thought, it's Man United, West Ham. Man United get the benefit. We knew what happened, and that happened time after time. I hated decisions like that. And so I thought VAR would be an improvement. So we saw a very rough first season when it was introduced. Everyone hated it because of the delays and everything else. But then we had lockdown, and we were watching from our sofas. And I think watching from our sofas, VAR was fine. At the beginning of this season, VAR, now managed globally by FIFA, the referees have now been encouraged to use the pitch side camera with the idea that they take more of the decisions rather than the people in the remote centre. So what are the stats and how has it affected football in general, but most importantly, West Ham? And so I've got some stats, and these are accurate as of the 16th of January for this season from ESPN. So reliable stats. Now, as you can see, West Ham are the lead beneficiary of VAR decisions this season. We've had 12 overturns. You can read the stats for yourself. I'm not going to read them out for you. And this season in the Premier League overall, there have been 73 total overturns. And that refers to goal decisions, by the way. So 73. Last season, there were, I think, 128 or something. Yeah, 128 incidents that were goals or incidents that were directly overturned by VAR. So, Nick, this question's for you. So you can see the stats. We're benefiting from it. The big teams clearly no longer get all the decisions their way. So VAR appears to be doing what it was supposed to do. So try and take your sort of personal bias out of it or whatever and just push back against all modern technology. Is VAR a good thing after all?
Right, before we start, Chris, I've taken you off because you're broadcasting. That's it, you're off. Yes, you're back on again. I don't know why you're doing that.
I just wanted to see that. I can't believe that they've had 15 minutes of extra time.
I know.
Chris, you can't broadcast live TV on YouTube. We'll get banned.
But yeah, no. Is VAR good? Yeah, I mean, from what you're saying there, it may be working. I don't know. No, I'm sick of it. I don't care. I honestly don't care because it takes away from the passion of the game. I would rather we're seeing just as many VAR. Yeah, it might be getting. We might be top of that league, but we've seen it week after week where VAR are getting it wrong. The same as what human error gets it wrong. And I know you'll go back and you say, "Oh, it ain't the tech; it's the people behind it." But there's always going to be people behind it because football is subjective. There's so many things in a game where, and no, for me, I hate it. I don't like the fact that it takes that passion away from scoring a winning goal in the 91st minute, and then all right, you get to celebrate it twice, but no, I don't like it. And if you gave me the opportunity now, to bin it, I would bin it in a heartbeat.
Listen, I might do too, but if you go back to what the referees were like when it was brought in, they were horrendous, and they were giving the advantage to the big teams year in, year out. Hated it.
Yeah, but it's similar now. I mean, Gary, go back to the Liverpool game, right? Ogbonna scores that goal. They checked for 15 things to try and roll it out. Yeah. They did. Honestly, it took about 5 minutes. They go, maybe there was an encroachment 15 minutes ago. We're checking a foul. We're checking an offside. We're checking for a handball.
So do you throw the whole thing out, or do you just
have goal?
You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Why don't you just refine it? This is all about the people. This isn't to do with the technology at all.
No.
All that you have to do is you have to get people with a brain using this stuff. You have to put limits on the time. You have to make clear and obvious errors are the only ones that
referees. They're referees, aren't they?
They are referees. Exactly. You've got people. It's the biggest flaw with it, John. You've got referees.
They are referees, and they're not the brightest bunch either, are they? So you need to get bright people. They need to make the decisions within 30 seconds, and they have to stop messing about because that's what we've got now. That example that Nick just said was horrendous. It was 3.5 minutes.
It was ridiculous. And Chris, and what I'm saying to you is, look, listen, the reason we go to football is for that moment, that feeling that you get. And you know what? It's being diluted. It's being diluted by VAR. And football is the way it is because unlike you look at all the American sports. I'm sorry if there's any people who love American sports watching.
Dolphins.
It's all stop-start. You've got a 5-hour sports event with 10 minutes of sport. I don't ever want that. You kind of just want the reason football is the way it is because it's chaotic, it's quick, it's fast flowing. And do you know what? If anything else, if there's going to be a mistake, I'd rather it be a fucking human error. It makes it worse when they get it wrong, when they're analysing it with technology, and you've got 15 people looking at it, and they still get it wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and that's me saying that's with you giving me that table to say West Ham have benefited most out of everyone. I don't care. I
think we've still got the same group of substandard referees who are now being ineffective on and off the pitch, right?
Gary, it ain't improved the game. It hasn't improved the game.
But what would be wrong with having the VAR, the off-field referees, completely independent of the Referees Association, just doing their job and applying the rules objectively? You know, why do they have to be certified off-field referees in the same referees club, the mates of the bloke that's on the pitch and the linesman, you know, or assistant referees, whatever you want to call them?
Make them accountable. Make them ensure that they're allowed to do interviews after the game.
Why can't they be open book? Why can't they do open comms like what they do at the rugby? Why can't they do that?
Totally agree.
And do post-match interviews.
Yeah.
You know?
If the rugby referees can do that, look at Nigel Owen. He explains himself after every game.
Well, I find that quite interesting. I mean, I've got to be honest. I've been to quite a few rugby games. I don't really understand the game that much, but
it's very difficult.
Those they're actually quite interesting when you get the old fucking headset and you listen into what they're talking. You get the old officials' comms. It's interesting, but you know why that is? Because I guarantee the communications that fucking what's his name, Mike Dean's having with so and so is probably very different to what you're getting at the rugby.
The rugby referees know that football is a mess. Look at what Nigel Owen said last year, and he said to that player, you know, he said, "Don't think you can, you know, treat us like a bunch of footballing referees." You know, they're totally different. They make decisions much quicker on a much more technical game.
They're very professional.
Are you saying that they should mic up the refnick?
No, they're mic'd up anyway. What I'm saying is, you know,
no, they're not mic'd up anyway. I mean, you said they should be mic'd up so you can hear the on-field referee talking and then.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is football's a different sport. The players are a different species than rugby players. Do you remember years ago there was an Arsenal-Millwall game and they mic'd up the ref, and all you could hear was Tony Adams screaming swear words in the most high pitch.
Might take a bit of a transition.
But John, then they would have to learn. But the fact of the matter is, that's what I'm saying to you. That is why. That's the thing. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying to you. That is why. I mean, like I've said it before. I manage fucking an under-13s team at the moment. But even them now, I'm getting to the stage now where I've got these kids, and they rear up because it is a passionate game.
They copy the professional game.
You get these moments on a pitch where it just blows up. And the thing is, I think VAR is taken away from all that. Yeah, it is. Because I had VAR, John, on last Sunday, and it ruled out one of my goals.
No, I could just imagine
you got one of those closed-circuit TV systems for under-16s.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, on my phone. I was doing that.
Because you know you've got those big things that go on a pole and it can track all the kids and everything.
I called the ref over and said, "Hang on a minute, mate. Hang on, have a look at this."
Just a couple of points. Couple of points in the chat, and then Chris can give his little bit of a take on it. But I think Nigel's right here. VAR is a goal killer, not a goal giver. It's ruining the goal celebration. And I always thought with offsides specifically, it used to go in favour of the striker. Now it seems to go the opposite way.
Hang on. I defy VAR and complete my celebration in the ground.
On your own?
Yeah.
No, Gary. Honestly, right? It's literally you imagine that, right? It's the last minute, like that goal that we scored against Spurs. I mean, imagine being at that game. You've gone through all those emotions, that celebration, and then 30 seconds, 45 seconds later, VAR fucking rules that out. Now that is just you would never celebrate a goal again. If that happened at Spurs, that would be the last time you ever celebrated a goal. You'd never do it again.
Yeah,
honestly, I just think for me, no, get rid of it. Football is chaos. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, you know. I love it as it is. It didn't need this. It didn't need it.
I just think, right? I didn't want it because it took away the debate. The debate in work on a Monday morning when you all debated, it was definitely offside. It weren't offside.
Exactly.
Right now, you've still got the very same debate.
There's more debate.
I was looking at it, so I can't see what it's benefiting really.
I agree. Yeah,
and that's the only thing from a spectator's point of view. From a spectator, because we're the ones that pay the money. We're probably the most passionate people. We go to the games. Chris follows them all over the country. Whatever, right? We've all got our different ways of following our club. it takes away that moment. And I agree with Nick, and I don't agree with Nick. 35 years, I don't agree with him a lot, right?
You agree with me all the time, John. You know you do.
Getting more and more now. I'm getting quite worried. I must be turning into a mini Nick or something. But it's taking away that passion. Because the first thing I'm doing now, when a goal goes in at, and he said Upton Park, when a goal goes in at the London Stadium, I'm sort of celebrating, but half looking at the ref and seeing what he's doing.
Yeah,
and
I know.
So I'm not really, truly, I don't believe, in the moment as I would have been.
I don't see how they can give an offside, right? Because if you're an attacker, right? If you're an attacker, the ball's coming from fucking that way. For a start, if you're running one way, your body's leaning that way anyway, and then the defender's leaning the other way. How can they fucking make you off? But how can they make you offside because your arm's off? It should be down to your feet. It should be daylight. It shouldn't be down to millimeters. It shouldn't be down to that.
Exactly. As soon as they have to start measuring, then it should be in favour of the attacker.
Exactly.
Every single time.
Exactly.
30 seconds to decide. Otherwise, the benefit goes to the attacker.
Yeah.
VAR in the bin for me.
Yeah, and obvious.
Get rid of it.
Like I've said many times before, if they give you offside because your hand's offside, why? You can't score
your hand.
Yeah.
You can't score your hand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's
and I think Maradona can. Maradona can, to be fair.
I think the offside rule needs modernising because it was brought in to stop goal hanging. Right?
Exactly. That's what people always forget. That is why it was brought in. It was to stop players, just sticking themselves in the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going back to about. We just need people that know what the laws of the game and the principles are, because it's not rocket science. This whole thing about let's make sure we do it within 30 seconds. Well, that's absolute definite. Let's make sure it's a clear and obvious error. If we have to draw a line, then it isn't. So you let it stand. They're really simple, and make the referees accountable as well. Make them have an interview after the game, because
the thing is, Chris,
it works great for rugby.
I'm not a qualified referee, right? By no stretch of the imagination. But what I am is I'm a qualified fan, And I've had more than one occasion this season where I've said that was the wrong decision. And I'm going to bring it up, Nick, because I know you don't want me to, but the Sue foul tackle at Arsenal, I said to you, you and Nigel was on here giving it Larry Large, right? And then
all agreeing with Moyes as well. And we said, absolutely,
I'll go and look for that Scottish kit as well if he wants to bring it on to me, right?
Yeah. No, I agree totally.
I know you do, Chris. Just keep eating your monkey nuts, mate. Just let me finish a minute, all right?
Go on, John.
I told you I was right, and you all only Gary was a bit with me, And then 4 days
Excuse me, hold on. I actually called that from the second.
But what I'm trying to say is they're the experts, and they had to apologise for a mistake made by 5 different people at the time when most sensible fans said that can't be. It can't be a penalty. And Nigel's still saying I was wrong in the chat now, even though the Premier League Association told Nigel I was right.
There you go. It's official. You was wrong.
No, it ain't official. Look for the newspaper.
Anyway, look. This has been a very interesting debate, like I thought it would. But I think we're getting quite a clear result. I know I was playing devil's advocate, but I want VAR fucking ripped out of the game.
Fucking get rid of it. Yeah. Get rid.
If they can't fix it this season, then I agree. I wouldn't say. I still think it can be reformed, but if they can't reform it, then
look, even if they can reform it, right? Would it make the game better? It doesn't make the game better, even if
they make it fairer.
It doesn't make it better. Get rid of it.
What's fairer?
No, it will make it. No, it will make it more fair. I've had enough. All that will happen is our whole conversations will then go back to how unfair it is for West Ham, just like it was in 2016, and just like it is today.
The same now. Have you just heard John? He's still moaning about the Arsenal decision.
Terrible decision, though, John.
Awful decision.
Fans always feel they're persecuted or their team is persecuted. That's what we're allowed to do. That's part of our being. If you want to take that away from me, Chris, you won't see me at the London Stadium.
The one thing I totally agree is that the match day experience has absolutely gone. I think it was two goals. We all stopped, didn't we, on Sunday? And you're just waiting and waiting. And in fact, there was a third goal where we did celebrate and it got ruled out again. So you just. So I think we're all
okay.
In the same
all
box.
Right. That was good news stories, Gal.
News is over.
That's done. John, are you ready? I hope your internet connection holds out because I ain't doing these for you.
I'm not really ready because I'm still a little bit baffled how I've agreed to view 2 shows in a row. I'm getting a bit concerned. If this carries on, I think the missus is going to divorce me. Right. So here we go. We are on to Mock the Week. Well, where to start? There's only one place to start, up at Goodison Park, up at the mighty Everton, who have only spent about £500 million in the last few seasons and have got absolutely nowhere. Well, unfortunately for everyone's favourite Spaniard, Rafa Benitez, things didn't end well after the defeat. He was given the sack the next day, and there he is on a train back to London. However, Rafa doesn't wait for any man, and he must have got a huge payout, but at the end of the day, he's a workaholic, and he was seen in one of those fancy French bistros taking up a new career just to pass the time and to get a bit of profit. Now, obviously, there's lots of calls for who the new manager is going to be. Mourinho. You've got Martinez, the Belgian manager as he is now. He was already seen as a bit of a clown by some sections of the Everton fan base back in the day.
God, another return.
There was a lot of them that wanted him out. But who's going to get the job? Martinez? I don't think so. Is Rooney going to get a job? Rooney might get the job. He's done a fantastic job with Derby, started with a 21 points deduction. But at the moment, they've given the job temporarily to Big Dunk. Big Dunk has taken over the job until the end of the season. And if anyone can sort out that changing room, it's Big Dunk. Because I'm not being funny. I don't think anyone that I know would want to mess with Big Dunk. So hopefully for them, he can sort them out. But Big Dunk, be careful, because if anyone's waiting around the corner, you know who it is. Sam Allardyce will have that job any moment now. So please be sure to do the job and do it well. Little bit of West Ham news now. Just so you know, Yarmolenko, he's knackered because of his 20-minute cameo against Leeds on Sunday. He said he was disgusted in the Ukrainian media. He basically said, "How dare they pay me 120 grand a week to 20 minutes of football? I'm used to 5. Don't do it again."
I felt sorry for him. I've got to be honest.
You felt sorry because he looked knackered, yeah. One of the only times we're talking about COVID recently. Gary Neville, I do like Gary Neville. I've got to say, very outspoken as an owner and a pundit, but I do like him. But as he says there, too many games being called off across the board in England. Only 33 cases, in fact, out of 13,600. So Arteta has come into play with this because he managed to get the North London derby called off, one of the biggest games of their season. He decided to bring in a statistician, his twin brother, COVID count, who decided to count up the amount of players they had available. Now, coincidentally, they fell just below the magic 13 number and they got the game called off. But coincidentally, the very next day, they sent 2 of these fit players out on loan. Balogun and Ashley Maitland-Niles went straight out on loan on Monday and Tuesday, even though they didn't have enough players to fulfill their fixture on Sunday. Disgusting behaviour. Disgusting behaviour, especially when you realise that Marco Bielsa there he is with the Leeds United subs bench. He doesn't care who he has to pick. He'll pick any Leeds player of any age, and that's the sort of man that you want in front of your team, leading your team out to hopefully glory. Obviously, the biggest news this week is the ongoing saga with the transfer window. As we all know, our favourite friend Nick has been apoplectic and incandescent with rage at times, but then at other times he's come down and he's been very nice indeed. However, most West Ham fans have constantly been saying, "What the fuck? What is going on? Where's the players?" Now, I'm not being funny. We don't want to rush out. Are we calm? Are we naive, as Gary said? But at the end of the day, would you want to go out and spend 25 million on Chris Wood? Would you? Yeah, I'm not sure you would.
Holding Wood.
No.
Holding Wood. Yeah. But not to fear, because the rumours were flying. The rumours were flying around. The rumour mill was off on a tangent, especially when this man was seen at the Rush Green training ground. Rumours were all over the gaff. Even Chris Miles was getting involved. I saw him on social media. People were livid. Some people were happy that he was back. Was he back in training? Was he there visiting Noble? Who knows? However, any rumour of us signing him is definitely going to be quashed because he was seen leaving later that day with a broken broken leg, as you can see there, pretty much taped up. Oh, hang on, guys. Nick, Nick. I understand you got some breaking news, Nick. Is that right?
Yes, I have. Right, so
breaking news of a transfer coming up here, guys. Breaking news, Nick. What you got?
Right, yeah, indeed. Right, do you want to go on to the first one?
Yeah, go on, you go. I've got it up. There we go.
Right, here we
Nick,
go. There we go. Look, Marlon Harewood, ex-West Ham player and cult hero Marlon Harewood. So we're going to do a bit of justice here. So Harewood became one of the top scoring strikers of the 2005-2006 season in the Alan Pardew era, and is most fondly remembered for scoring the winning goal in the FA Cup semi-final tie against Middlesbrough. What a night. Harewood has described his memory that night and said, "I can't really describe how I felt at the time. You can't put something like that into words. It's a chapter in my career that I've dreamed about doing since I was a little kid. And after making the big step up from Nottingham Forest to West Ham, I knew I had to work hard if I wanted to get where the top strikers in the country were. I was living the dream. It was amazing." And Harewood, now 42, but fit as a fiddle, finally retired from playing professionally in 2016 after spending a season playing in the National League North with Nuneaton Town. After retiring, he's focused his business. He's gone on to other things. He's started a business called AC13 Premier, which provides bespoke car solutions, and the main bulk of business comes from footballers who require bespoke modifications made to their luxury vehicles. And his client list. I mean, if you have a look, you got Wilfred Zaha, Harry Kane, Wayne Rooney, Jack Butland. Who's Jack Butland? His company equips cars with interior fit-outs, body styling kits, bespoke wheel colouring, privacy glass, and vehicle wrapping. And Marlon has since branched out into a fixing business. Sounds a bit iffy, but it's called AC13 Lifestyle, where they arrange holidays, football match tickets, and even bespoke suits for their high-profile clientele. Harewood has also expressed an interest in managing one day and coming back to West Ham. And having completed his UEFA coaching badges, he currently coaches at the moment at the Nottingham Forest Academy. But as he is one of 500 strikers linked with a January move, after learning that Carroll and Defoe were sniffing around, he was quoted as saying, "Look, I'm almost 10 years older than Big Andy, and I'm twice as fit as he ever was. I'm dreaming of one last dance with West Ham." So, Chris, what are your thoughts on Marlon? Shall we sign him?
I want to know what the reference to Marlon is.
Marlon Martin, interior designer. That was his business card when he was.
Is that the new? Is that the branding? Oh, right, I see.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a magnificent signing, wouldn't it?
What would you say now? Look, listen. Marlon Harewood in his pomp. Would you bring him in now? You would, wouldn't you?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
You would. You'd bring him in.
There's no two ways about it. We've already said we need him as a backup. It's not as if he'd be the primary attacker.
Listen, I think he could still do a job. So I'm going to take you on to the next. I'm going to take you on to the next bit of breaking news, right? Which is another man that can do a job. So at the recent game against Leeds, Andrei Yarmolenko was brought on for the umpteenth time to try and somehow get something from the game. Watching, exasperated from the executive seats, was none other than Sir Geoff Hurst, who was heard to mutter, "If he can get a game, I might as well put my boots on." As a result, I can exclusively reveal that Sir Geoff, aged 80, West Ham and England royalty, has been offered a 4-month contract as a bench warmer. If he gets to make his 412th appearance for us, it will be the first time a footballer has ever had a 49-year gap between games for the same club. I was 3 last time he played for us. I was 3. But look, he's a bit less mobile than he once was. But I, for one, welcome this. I don't see how he could have less impact than some of our regular substitutes, especially Yarmolenko. So I think he can still do a job. 80% of the game is played inside your head anyway, which is just as well in this case.
Hang on a minute.
Can he play left back? Can he play left back as well?
I've got some more breaking news. Hang on. My sources have broken some more news. Hang on. What we got here?
Some great copy and paste there.
We have a corny here, haven't we? Go on.
Hang on. Marco Boogers. Oh my God, can't believe it. Now, this eccentric character was seen reversing his caravan into Rush Green car park. And the only reason they knew he was there was because it hit the height restriction. We know what he gave us when he was here. Nothing at all. but he's forever continually thought about what he did at West Ham, and he feels like he owes us a favour. He wants to show the fans what he's all about. At 55 years of age and at 6'1", he is built like a brick. You know what? Yeah. Since his days at West Ham, he spent his time continuing his football career in Holland, alongside working for Haven Holiday Caravan Park, where his love of caravan continues. He still kept himself pretty fit. Last season, he scored 14 goals in 32 games, playing for Parkdean Resorts FC in the southern section of the combined Caravan League. I, for one,
great little team.
Yeah, great little team. I'm glad you've heard of him. I, for one, would like to give him one more shot. All honestly, guys, take him back. I know the answer.
If not for Tevez, I think he'd have been a club legend. Said it many, many times.
100%. Thing is, would you take Marco Boogers now as opposed to no one? I probably would.
Not knowing what we knew. Not knowing what we now know.
I wouldn't. Okay, all right. Well, let's move on to swiftly. Well done, John, by the way. That was good. That was brilliant. Let's move on to the transfer centre. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Claret and Booth Transfer Centre, where we discuss the current players linked with West Ham in the media. We've got 3 players to review today, 3 players that I'm really excited about as well. But before we get into that, a quick disclaimer. We are not in the know. We're not ITKs.
I am.
We know as much as you guys, and we read the same stories and follow the same social media accounts.
How very good.
And we do try to rationalise and only pick players that we think there is some actual logic in the link. So all we're doing is reporting on players that we're all linked with elsewhere. So
did you just say you rationalised? Did you say that, Nick?
Yeah, that was me. So probably not very rational. Probably not very rational. Yeah, but anyway, here we go. So on to the first player, and we will go to Gary first. So take it away, Gary. Is your one
right? Boubacar Kamara rolls off the tongue. A French defensive midfielder playing for Marseille, age 22, 126 appearances and 3 goals, all for Marseille. He's played pretty much for 6 successive seasons and been ever present for the last 4. He's out of contract in the summer, and Marseille, who are under a transfer ban in the summer, thanks, Nick, see January as the last time they can get any money for him. So his market value ran about 22.5 million. His peak, it was about 33 million, funny enough. He's represented France at every age group from under 17 to under 21, and was in the Marseille side that finished runners-up in the Europa League in 2017-18. He's been at Marseille forever, and I don't say that lightly. He joined them aged 5 and has been there ever since.
Wow.
So it's safe to say that any move is going to be a massive change for him. He's been linked with everyone, including Man United. This is a very highly rated kid. He's right-footed, versatile defensive midfielder, excellent passing, specialising in long diagonal balls, great tackling ability, good in the air. Rates highly in winning the ball and ball retention. You know, he's kind of it comes across as a bit of a French version of Declan Rice. He scores high in terms of technique, but you could expect that from someone who's been raised pretty much in a football academy. And he loves to get forward. Again, like Declan Rice, he's fast, great stamina, and considered to be a leader and a very brave player. So, I mean, in summary, this is a player that if we could get him, he gets my vote every time. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for me, all day long. I mean, like I say, he's a very highly rated player. He really is. He's a first team player for a very good team as well. And he's, like I say, look, we can't expect him to be Declan Rice, but to bring someone like him in, you kind of land the foundations of, if heaven forbid Declan Rice did move on, you've got someone there who could potentially he could do a fantastic job, and he's a talented player. But although the value's 5 million, he's clearly a loyal. Well, I say he is a loyal player, and there's no guarantees, because even though he hasn't signed a contract as yet, there's a lot of people that say, you know, he's been there since he was 5, Gal, like you said. There's a lot of people that say his heart still is at Marseille, but for me, I think for him it would be an amazing signing. But the trouble is how do you get somebody from a team that is, because Marseille Marseille they challenge for Champions League places. They're always in Europe. So how do you take a first team player from Marseille to be a backup to Souček and Rice? That is my only concern. That's my only concern.
I said he was worth 22.5 million, right? That is his current market.
More than that.
That's his current market rate. But people are speculating that he could go for as little as 5 million.
Yeah.
No. Now because of it, he's 5 million for it because of his contract value.
Yes.
Because Marseille, basically, what's happened is Marseille, they got I can't remember what the deal was now. It was something to do with a player with Watford, but they've been given a 1-year transfer ban, and what they've done is they've appealed it, and what that's done is it's given them a bit of breathing space. It's given them the January transfer window, but for the next year they can't do anything. So he's going. I think unless he signs a contract, they're going to have to sell him. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of players after him because he is a top player. But my God,
Man United. I've heard this guy.
Yeah, but does this guy fit the profile? I mean, of what we want. He does
massively.
Really does. Really.
Yeah, but the only thing I'd say, and Father Jack, aka Michael Brennan, just said it in the chat, and I have to agree with him if I'm honest. Is he what we need now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's not filling. This is what I thought with Lucas as well. He's not filling the gap
for 5 million. He's what we need now because Claret clearly isn't fancied by Moyes, and if Souček or Rice get injured,
good point.
He is what we need now. I think he is.
So you're saying we buy him as a backup rather than come into
well as a backup, but as Gary said earlier on, as he alluded to, we've got all these European games coming up.
True.
We can't play the B+ team anymore. We've got to be having more than 11 good players. I think that look, listen, if we manage to convince this guy, that's the thing. I think that's a statement in itself. Not the £5 million signing fee, because this kid's highly sought after. So if we were to manage to somehow, if Moyes
you've got Roma, Milan, Newcastle, Man United,
so many
all connected. Yeah,
there's so many. So if we were to convince him, then that for me, that is a bit of a statement from the club as well. For players like that, of that standard, he's that age, and nothing to do with the value. We don't have to go out and spend 40 million, but we have to go out and buy quality players. He's a quality player. He is. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant player.
He's a good player. So I don't doubt that. But I think you're buying. So what you're saying is buying as at the moment a replacement to Claret, which is
no. Because listen, he'll get more game time. Look, listen, John, we're all agreed, right? You just said with Antonio
150k a week.
But what I'm saying is, Chris,
that's not
John,
a standby.
But we've all said the same thing, right? with Antonio, we're running him into the ground. Just because Rice and Souček can play every game doesn't mean you should fucking run them into the ground. You should.
No,
we can rotate. We can rotate.
£150,000 a week is what this guy is going to be on.
But so what, though, Chris?
But there's only so much in the bank.
If we keep him.
So if we put 150k on this guy, that means we can't get somebody else. We've got to balance.
No, Chris, we can, because we've got one of the. You look at the top 8. Look at the top 10 teams. I guarantee you, our wage bill will be at the bottom of that fucking league. We've got one of the lowest.
It's 11th.
Yeah,
look,
it's 11th in the Premier League.
Chris, I would make an exception for this player. I would make an exception for this player because everyone knows he's class. I think with Lucas Dean, you're saying he's it's a different kettle of fish, right? That's a player that you don't want to pay 160 grand for a left back. You ain't going to do that. This could be.
I would, but whatever.
Yeah, you would.
300.
But this could be not on our wage structure, right? Because we ain't got anyone on 160 grand a week.
Exactly.
But Chris, can I go to Chris quickly? Chris, what do you want from West Ham at the moment? Do you want West Ham to become a regular top 6 team that pushes a top 4, or do you want us to just be a sensible outfit that are trying to be the best of the rest and basically nip in when one of the big teams drop out? What do you want from West Ham?
Well, what I want is to be able to make sure we can do that because we can afford what we're about to buy. And the problem is that we can't just keep picking up a position and going, oh, we'll spend 150 grand on that one, another 150 grand there, because we just don't have it, And God, I'm going to sound like an apologist, but let me just finish. So what you've got to do is you've got to look at the priority positions first. This is coming to MB's point, and you cannot just just fill up positions where you've already got players in there at our part of our evolution. Yeah, years ahead, but we're nowhere near that yet. And Sullivan and Gold, and even with the Czech investment, we're nowhere near what Tottenham, we're nowhere near what Man United, Man City, or any of those guys can do
but one second, right? You're literally forgetting the fact we are now competing at a higher level. We've got more income coming in now. We've got a smaller squad. Go back 2 years, 3 years. We're paying Jack Wilshere 100 grand to sit on the bench, and Carlos Sanchez 80 grand a week. You telling me we can't pay this kid 150 grand a week?
I don't know. No. What I'm saying is it's the priority, because our priorities and the priorities that I've seen you guys say are not in central midfield, defensive central midfield. They are striker. They are central midfield. Centre back. And those are the areas that you need to do. And once you know what you've got there, then you know what you've got to spend on.
But Chris, central midfield is also important, because if we lose
but I don't know how much we're going to spend on striker yet, and I don't know how much we're going to spend on all the other positions we've been talking about. So I wouldn't. I'm not going to object to this guy coming in. But what I don't know, because remember, you see me saying this all the time. What I don't know for certain is how much we've got. So that's why I can't be. Yeah. Like you guys, I can't be dogmatic and say, yes, Chris, we're not doing it, boys, because we just don't know.
Do you know what, Chris? Do you know why you can afford to pay Boubacar Kamara more money than what you can afford to pay Vlasic? Because he's signing on. We'll pay $5 million to sign him. So we paid.
I don't agree. We're not going. This guy's not going to go for $5 million. Not with Man United. Not with Newcastle. Not with Roma and Milan after him.
No one's going to pay stupid money for him, because there's only 6 months left of his contract.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because
that doesn't matter. It depends. Buying players is an auction, mate, and you pay what the others have to go, and you just go up. It's the simple.
Chris, we
6 months doesn't make any difference. You've got 5 big clubs going after a player. It's who pays the most is going to be what the capex.
I know, but what I'm saying to you is, but Chris, when you're talking about players like this, and I ain't talking about Suarez now, I ain't talking about going out and spending 350 grand on what could potentially be a has-been. I'm talking about a 22-year-old player that could be a player for us for the next 10 years.
What? Okay. For £5 million, absolutely brilliant. But I don't know. And remember, I've already said I would take the guy with all things being equal, but we don't know what else we've got to spend on.
Can I just say
that's basically, when we're doing these kind of things, I don't think you can say a lot more than yes, I would take him if I've got the money, because I don't know how much money we've got.
Let's let John have a say.
It's not only the transfer fee paid, is it? It's the wage structure of a club.
The wages, 150 grand a month, a week.
No. What I'm saying is, Claire made a good point in the chat. How much is Yarmolenko getting paid? We know he's being paid too much, right? Yeah. But the problem, the difference is he's already there, and hopefully he'll be gone if not at the end of the season, right? One way or another. However, what happens is if you bring in this 22-year-old in from France and you say we'll give you 150 grand a week. As much as I would love that player at our club, that then causes a ripple effect. Other players who have been at the club a lot longer will start going, hang on a minute, and their agent will start piping up, and they'll be going, hang on a minute, if he's on 150, I'm only on 70, I want 100. And then it has a little bit of a domino effect. So you have to be careful.
But John, if we're competing at the top end of the league, I am sorry, we can afford to pay our players that money.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, I'm looking from the other side of it. However, I agree. You get what you pay for. And you do have to sometimes speculate to accumulate. If you're paying such a low transfer value, then like Nick said, I agree. You can afford to pay him a higher inflated wages, So it's difficult. It's a balancing that. Like Chris, look, there's arguments for and against, right? At the end of the day, we all want the best players coming into our club.
Because the market value of this guy, I think Gary said, is probably about 20 to 25 million. So just remember that. It's not 5 million. Yeah. Well, real world is what we'll have to pay.
I would say on a full contract. I think if this kid was contracted till 2025 and you went in to sign him, you'd be looking at 40 million. Personally, you'd be looking at.
I've got to be honest. Looking at some of the YouTube reels, which I'm not broadcasting because I've now worked out which window to put it on. He's a really decent guy.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he really is.
I was watching some of those earlier, and I'll tell you, it makes your eyes water how good he is.
No, it's quite impressive.
He's a proper player, Yeah. And he would, to me, listen, Nick is right. We've got 2 players in central midfield in Rice and Souček. We're 1 injury away from a problem, like we are.
And we were 1 injury away, weren't we?
And the issue you've got, Gal, the issue you've got is with look, we know we've identified, Rice is so important to this team because what Rice, Souček is amazing when Rice is next to him. Souček needs a similar type of player because Souček, like everyone keeps on saying, oh, why does Rice carry the ball? Why does Rice carry the ball? Rice carries the ball because when we're in deep positions and we're defending deep, because don't forget what Moyes does when we're kind of up against it, our wide players, Fornals and Bowen, half the time they're double fullbacks. So when we do get the ball and we win it back, Rice looks in front of him. He's got no options. So your option is when you're Declan Rice is to drive with the ball and carry the team up the pitch, or to just punt it. Right now, if he gives it to Souček can't drive with the ball. So what you need somebody in that midfield who's got that kind of ability. This guy's got it. This guy has got that kind of ability. He has.
He's quick as well.
Maybe not to the same level. Maybe not to the same level, but he's got more about him. He's more rounded.
So should we, John? Do you want to go through some comments about this player before we go on to the next one?
I was just going to go through some comments very quickly. Stu Mack says that this guy is an athletic and salient Declan Rice. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the word salient means. I'll be totally honest with you. Paul Riley said, don't laugh at me, Chris, tell me. Paul Riley says, pass this on to Moyes. Stu Mack again says, this is a big upgrade by him. Jaff says, then they can sell Rice.
Well, again, it's going to come. We know it's going to come at some
point.
Eventually. They've got to put the plan in place now. So if you get the opportunity now, and then later on, Mike says, "Does this solve our immediate problems here?" Well, I'll tell you what. If Declan Rice or Souček gets injured, yes, it does. We've only got those 2 at the moment, so it's kind of we do.
Mike's thinking is right though, and that's the balance we're always struggling with, isn't it?
What's Claire saying? Nick sold him to me. I did that pitch.
Yeah, no, it was all
there you go, favouritism.
You threw it up there, Nick batted it out of the stadium, didn't he? That's what happened.
He's even convinced me.
Father Jack Brennan says, and Pyatt will say. I think he's going to suggest that Pyatt.
Well, hopefully he'll come as part of the deal. I mean, I'll take it back.
I've got to pull this up. This is not about who we're talking about. This is quite a funny exchange, right? So Claire said, "What is Yarmolenko on right now in terms of how much he get paid?" And Neil, avid Australian fan, said he's on light duties. I found that quite funny. I did find that really funny. Brendan says, in a position we don't need.
But James, we do. We ain't got no cover there. It's the same.
Don't need yet. Yeah, no. Mike's point is valid though. It's a really valid point.
Says that's his wages would be £7.5 million a year. That would be a lot, wouldn't it? Jesus.
It's good to have an accountant on the comments.
Declan should be on a contract where his wage, if not the highest, his contract would match that.
To be fair to the club, they've offered to make him the highest paid player, but he won't sign a new contract. That's the story that we all hear.
But I think, like I said to you before, I think Declan Rice, he's not unhappy at West Ham. But you know what? I think he's going to need a little bit of something from us to prove that we're going to kind of try and match that ambition. And I think if we do go out, if Moyes pulls it out the park in this window, and that's what I'm saying to you, that type of deal there, that proves you ain't got to go out and spend a fortune. It's the profile of player. So if he gets out and gets a right type of player, I don't need 50, 60 million pound statement signings. It's the level of player that we're signing.
Well, you do. Because what would he be in a normal time? What would he be?
No. Yeah, he would be. He would be.
What would he be if he wasn't under contract and Marseille weren't on
40, 50 million. 40, 50 million.
He is that because normally he would be that.
Yeah, but what I mean is I'm not judging Moyes on him spending 50 million on a player. Is what I'm saying. I'm not doing.
You just bloody well know he's going to go to Man United, this guy, don't you? You just can tell. He's too good.
Why would he go to Man United, though?
Because they've got the money.
No, he'll go.
That's all. That really is all. They've got the money. They've got the name.
I truly think when and if Rice leaves, I think he'll just go City. I really do. I can't see.
Sorry, I meant Kamara.
Oh, sorry. I do apologise.
Yeah. No, Rice. I think you're right. I'm with you. I think City. Why would that happen? And to Nick's point, why would you go to Man United if you know, like, if you're in this league already?
True. Yeah, you know things are bad if Claire's educating you. John, salient means important. Thanks, Claire. Nigel says Rice still gets a pay rise every
Salient
15
point.
games. Is that true?
Yeah,
he does.
It's relatively minor, though, isn't it, Nigel? I think it's like an extra 10 grand a week or something. I mean, it's not minor to me, is it?
Crikey. Not enough for a boiler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not enough to buy Nigel.
Well, let's move on anyway. John, are you ready for your player?
I think so. Yeah.
Sell him to me, John.
Player number 2.
Okay, player number 2, Attila Zalai. He was the ruler of the Hun tribe until March 453. No, sorry, wrong Attila. This guy is a 24-year-old Hungarian. He is he's a massive 6'3", /4. He likes to play for Fenerbahce at the moment in a left centre back. He plays in 3 centre backs. He's to the left of him. He's left-footed. He's valued at 15 million. His contract runs until 2025. He's played for Fenerbahce currently. He's been at Rapid Vienna. He's been at Meszkabusi Sport in Hungary, and he's also played for a Cypriot team by the name of Apollon Limassol. He's been referred to in Hungarian media, the Hungarian media, as the Hungarian Virgil van Dijk. Not says a lot really, because I'm the Hackney Marshes Virgil van Dijk. He's represented Hungary internationally from under 16 all the way up to full international level. He's so far got 23 caps. He played all 3 games in their Euro 2020 championships. Now, although they didn't get out of their group, they did very well. And defensively, they were very resolute, I felt. And he was part of that. He's very physical. He's very calm on the ball. He's got great ability to play progressive, forward-thinking passes. He likes to play on the left of 3 centre-backs, as I said. He's been linked with Chelsea in the past, last summer, and back end of this year, back end of 2021 as well. He doesn't dive in. He's got great concentration. He fits the bill for me. He's 24. He's left-footed centre-back. He's built like the proverbial outhouse. As I said, Hungary. That the Hungarian national team are built on defence. He's very strong. And let's be honest, although the Turkish league may not be the most technical, it's a very physical league, as we know. I like the look of him. I don't know if you know much about him, but, I like the look of him.
Well, he certainly seems to fit the David Moyes profile of defender.
Yeah, very much so.
He's we have been linked with him before, and this is I will say this is a he's a really highly rated player, and he is good as well. And like you said, John, I think what impresses me most about him, what you hear about is he's intelligent. He's an intelligent defender. He makes good decisions. He's big. He's athletic. He doesn't really get caught out. He's a proper player, and he is a proper left-sided centre back. I would even go as far as saying I like the. Who's the centre back we're linked with from Marseille, the Croatian chap? Claret, is it?
Yeah,
I like him as well. I think this. Personally, from what I've seen, and I have seen this guy play as well a couple of times. And he's for me. I think he's potentially a great centre back. I think he's brilliant. I don't know whether that value is accurate because he's contracted till 2025. I think it might take a little bit more than 15 million to get him out. I've got to be honest.
Maybe.
But
the Turkish league, they don't generally. Turkish players don't leave the Turkish league for big money. So what I mean is, you don't need to pay a lot of money to come out of Turkish league. It's a bit like the Danish league. They get good money, but they're nowhere near the money that our players are on. So his wages, he's probably not on a massive wage compared to Premier League level. And I think 15, 20 million could easily get him.
Yeah.
And as I said. As a team, Hungary impressed me in the Euro, the delayed Euro.
Yeah, they were good.
They were
a frustrating team.
Yes, and he was a very big part of that defensive mentality, that defensive wall that they had. I think they lost one game where they let in a couple of goals very late on, but apart from that, they were stubborn. They was hard to beat, and he at 24 was a big part of that.
Well, that's
it does fit the profile, doesn't it? 24 years old. It would be if we was to get him. Look, put it this way: if we paid 20 million, 25 million for him, his value ain't going to go down.
Imagine him playing on the left side of Zuma. I mean, that would be so rigid, that defense, wouldn't it? That's what we've got to do. Moisey starts building from the back, which is why he paid all that money for Zuma in the first place. This wouldn't surprise me at all to sign him. It seems to me that is exactly the right profile that Moyes wants. Defence first.
It's horrible to say, but there's no way Ogbonna's coming back, is there? Let's be honest.
I didn't hear you mention once, John. I didn't hear you mention once in your review, John, that he's comfortable bringing the ball out of defence and stuff like that, right?
He is. No, he is. He's
does he carry the ball out of defence?
He's a good ball. He's
good at long balls.
No, but he's a good ball playing centre back. He's a good centre back, Gary.
He's a clever player.
No, he's an excellent centre back. But what I'm saying is he probably does fit. He's more like a Tarkowski type of.
No. I think he's got more about him.
Yeah, you missed. See, I used intelligent terminology, Gal. It probably threw you because I used the word. He plays progressive passes, which basically means forward thinking. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. Honestly, he would fit the mold. He's a very good player, and that's what I'm saying to you. We have, look. This is the money end of the window for West Ham because of the nature of the beast. This is when we start getting active, and these links that are coming out, these are the persistent ones. And like with Zuma last year, there's no smoke without fire. These are the ones that are persistent, and like I say, and the next one is another persistent link as well.
This position to me is priority number one.
Yeah,
striker is number two. Well, this is number one.
Well, left centre back, right?
Because centre back,
yeah. Because when Zuma came in, we saw how good Zuma is as part of a right centre back pairing, and he can play on the left centre back side, but you ain't getting the best of Zuma there. You're not.
Yeah.
So we need him back where he's at his best position. So anyway,
should we have a look at the comments before?
Go on.
There's a lot of comments about him, but I'm not sure I can bring them all up if I'm honest.
Yeah, go on.
Michael Father Jack Brennan probably had a drink or two, I think. Anyway, James Bond.
Now Mike's given up drink.
Attilia looks different after a shave. Probably up to the manscaping lark.
Yeah.
He needs a beard. Michael's adamant. He's gone mental in the chat. This guy is.
He really has, doesn't he?
Desmond.
Yeah, and then Nigel just decided to ruin it. And then
England smashed hunger. Oh, fuck. Don't piss on our cornflakes, Nigel.
Oh no, I know.
Why do we promote his website when he's just always on it?
He's just heckling us in the background, and it's all he does.
He's always right, though. That's what's so annoying.
He is, I know.
He's right every single time.
Don't tell him that, Chris, for God's sake.
Oh, he wouldn't have heard it. I muted myself.
Okay, well, look, next one, and like I say, this for me, people, is probably for me, this is the most exciting one. Okay,
Ooh.
And we're not reviewing the strike today.
We see you're excited, folks.
Yeah, this is brilliant. And Fabio Carvalho, right? This player plays for Fulham, and as we know, they are flying in the Championship, right? He's just 19. He's got 6 months left on his contract. Quite a small, diminutive, sort of Lanzini-esque frame. He's an attacking midfielder. He's a natural winger, and he's effective when played centrally as well. Really effective. He's comfortable on either foot and either side, so adds flexibility for Moyes if we do get him. We can pinch him on a pre-contract. However, due to his age, it's going to go to a tribunal, which normally, you don't end up paying a fortune when that happens. But we've got the option to purchase him because obviously, and because of his contract value, we're looking at the same sort of value, around about 5 million. So a proper steal. Wow. He's a player that we've been linked with previously, and it's thought that the club do rate him highly, and so they fucking should, because he's probably the most exciting talent in that Championship at the moment. He really is. Carvalho, he's fantastic. He can play anywhere across the front. He's a dynamic winger, a creative central midfielder. He's got assists and goals. He's fast. He's tricky, clever, and he's got an engine on him as well. You'd expect him to at that age, but and there is a possibility of us signing him. There really is, because there is definite interest there. But the obvious caveat is that Fulham may be willing to keep him and lose him to a free transfer to help them gain promotion, which is worth far more than 5 million. So. But however, there's nothing stopping us signing him on a pre-contract, though. We can do that. We can still do that. We can sign him on a pre-contract for the summer. He's a consistently high performer for Fulham. is exactly the type of player that West Ham fans love. He really is. You know, he gets you off your seat, and he's English as well. He's very young. He'd be a fantastic addition. And in my opinion, if he comes in, and I know that they say there's a bit of a step up, but I've watched Fulham quite a lot this year, and he always stands out. And in my opinion, he comes in and he takes, because Benny and Vlasic are on the left wing at the moment. I think he takes their position straight away. And what that does is it's not detrimental to them. That gives us strength and depth on the bench all of a sudden. Because in my opinion, Benny, he could be fantastic, a fantastic player off the bench. He's got the attributes to sort of change games, and it takes the pressure and spotlight away from Vlasic as well, to allow him to sort of develop into the league at his own pace. So for me, with this player, it is a big fat yes. I mean, 5 million is daylight fucking robbery. And if you offered me him or Lingard, I am taking this player every single time. Every single time.
Wow. Age 19. Is that? See, that's what I love about these players that we're reviewing. They're all young and they're all functional already. You know, so they can come in and add something to our team. You know, look at Ben Rama. He came out the Championship. He probably wasn't the best player in the Championship. Bowen came out. He was one of the best. He came in and Antonio came in. Cresswell came in. Okay. We've had a lot of success with Championship players. I think if they are, and this is where you said about the Brereton Diaz thing, John. If it's a Championship player who is absolutely tearing it up in the Championship, you know they're slightly too good for the Championship and maybe good enough for the Premiership. And that sounds like he's one of the.
But Gary, do you know? Because like I say, I have watched a lot of. I don't watch a lot of Championship football, but I do watch the. I like Fulham, and I have been watching them because they do play good football. And what I will say is, on my life, this kid, he runs the game. He is fantastic, and he's got a world at his feet. He is brilliant. I think for him, the sky's the limit. And like I say, we're just talking about Boubacar Kamara. This is a profile of player I'm talking about. You bring him in as well. I mean, my fucking God, that's exciting for me. That is really exciting.
I don't disagree with you. I don't think you could say he's a high-profile signing yet at that age.
For me personally, it would be. But I know what you mean.
But the thing is, again, is like you alluded to, is the fact that Fulham are they flying again? I think they've scored 20 goals in the last week. I think they've scored 20 goals in 3 games or something, right? Yeah. And it's interesting what you said about players stepping up from the Championship to the Premier League. You know, because people always use the argument about Mitrovic, because Mitrovic bangs in goals for fun in the Championship, right? He comes up to the Premier League, he's lucky to get maybe 5 or 6 goals, right? So everyone uses that as the yardstick and says, well, Mitrovic bangs in loads of goals there. But the difference is Mitrovic has experience in the Premier League, so we know he doesn't score as many. You have to sometimes like Moyes has done in the past with Bowen and Ben Rama, and we have as a club with Antonio. You have to sometimes say, you know what, bite the bullet and take that risk. Otherwise, you'll never know. And for £5 million, if we can get him for that money, it's almost like a no-brainer to some extent. However, I don't see it happening because of the position Fulham are in.
Oh man, honestly, if we should be fucking competing for his signature, because even if not for this season, honestly, that is a long-term replacement for, because like I say, we're lucky we've got Lanzini at the moment, but this kid is Lanzini-esque. He's a real talent, and that is, you know, that would excite me if we started getting players like this in. This is fucking that is, and like I say, when we brought Ben Rama in, because people keep on saying they refer to Ben Rama as a kid, and he ain't a kid. Yeah, he's 26, he's 27. He's as good as he's going to get. This kid's still got development to do, and I haven't got anything against Ben Rama. I think Ben Rama, like I've already said, I think he's kind of shown, he's proven what he's about. He's talented in at times, and he could be a very useful bench player, but. If we want to move on to that next level, Ben Rama ain't our left winger. As far as I'm concerned, he's not.
Do you know much about him, Carvalho?
No, I haven't watched much of the Championship. I like what Nick has described. I like exciting players. I like pacey players. And I like young players as well who have started to prove themselves. So for $5 million, if he is what Nick describes, I'd be happy to take a gamble on someone like that. Definitely. Bear in mind, I didn't really know much about Ben Rama when we signed him.
Well, very true.
And he was one of the talks of the championship. I didn't know much about Bowen when we signed him either. Even though my mate, who's a Hull supporter, was raving about him, I'd never watched him.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Chris? Have you?
Well, I've actually heard a lot of him up here because the Scousers that I work with are all talking about him. He's going to.
Yeah, no, they're in for him. I know Liverpool.
He's going to Anfield apparently. So I'd not heard that he was linked to us at all. But I've heard two of the guys that I work with who are Liverpool season ticket holders.
I think the difference is he ain't getting in their team, is he? He's not going to get in the Liverpool. He's not going to get in the Liverpool team, though, is he?
Well, not straight away.
He will do for all of their secondary tournaments. So he'll play for Carabao Cup. He'll be FA Cup. He'll be, Champions League for every, the early stages. So if I were him, I think I know which way I'd go. So
you go to West Ham, Chris, is what you do if you was him.
Well, I would. But he's a Portuguese-born Fulham player. What do you think he's going to do?
Yeah.
I hate to say it because I think you've nailed the guy as a target, but
listen, it depends where his family is, right? If we've got, it depends where if his family's in London. If his family's in London, right, and he's a young kid, listen. If you're watching Fabio Carvalho, it's a big thing. You go up to Liverpool. First of all, right, it's cold. You don't want to go up there. It's cold up there. Stay in London. You're not far away from West London. It's nice. It's kind of, there's nice areas in Collier Row and sort of around
beautiful flats in Bow and Stratford and Marlon.
A free tour of London in his cab. If you
always 50% off the meter, 50%.
I showed some lovely pizza places in Hackney Wick.
We know Fabio's a regular watcher, so Claret and booze. So welcome to West Ham, Fabio.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have
Obrigado.
in my cab, just so you know, I've had Ricardo Vaz in my cab before.
Have you really?
Ricardo Vaz.
Yeah, I'm going off on a tangent now, but sorry, but he's an agent now for Portuguese kids, and he come in my cab with a Portuguese kid, and I took him to a whole house where there's a family who put up young kids in Romford, right behind the brewery centre, if any of you know that. And I was talking to him, and he dropped this kid off, and I took him back to Canary Wharf where he would stay in. What a fare! We won't go into that. Anyway, I told my mates about that. But I was talking to him, so this was about 3 years ago, and I'll get the kid's name one day. And I remember looking him up, and we did have him in the under-18s, but he's gone now. But so he's a Portuguese football agent who specifically looks for these Portuguese kids. But he was a lovely fella, lovely fella. But anyway, sorry.
Does he still live here, Vaz?
No, well, I don't know. This was 3 years ago. And when I spoke to him, he was out of contract. He wasn't playing for anybody, but he was at that time. I haven't looked him up since, but at that time, he was possibly going to play in Japan. That's what he said to me. Whether it happened or not, I don't know. But
he'll always be a legend, won't he?
He will. The inside track on Ricardo Vaz from John, from Virgil of the Marshes.
It's great, isn't it?
Pick them all up. Pick them all up, mate. I pick them all
Cab
up.
driver to the stars.
So should we go through the comments on this and then move on to Man United?
Yeah,
I've got it. So just going back to when Chris said Nigel's always right, Nigel basically agrees and said
Nigel slandered me further down in the.
Well, no,
Brennan's not convinced with Carvalho in so much as he's saying he's another winger, as if to say we've got many. We have, I suppose, but
we haven't got. Well, no, listen. How many out-and-out wingers have we got? We haven't got many out-and-out wingers. We've got loads of number 10s.
Yeah,
we haven't got many out-and-out wingers.
We've probably got Antonio, Benrahma, and Bowen. That's our wingers.
Yeah.
Claire says Carvalho is a fantastic little talent.
Yes, Claire.
Michael carries on with his comment, and he is unproven. James Bond
he's a hard boy, isn't he, Michael? He's hard to play.
He's in that mood tonight. Do you remember that show that we did when I mentioned Martial and he flipped?
Oh,
he's in that mindset. He's in that mindset tonight.
Well, he's a pirate. He's basically a pirate, isn't he? So then pirates are quite aggy people, aren't they?
You know what? I still think Moyes could turn Martial.
I think he could. I'll take him. Take him in a half.
Man manager.
I would take him on loan. Jaff says, so why would they bother selling him? Yeah, why would they sell him? Because of where they are in the league. Michael Brennan, we have a player like that. We have one like that. He's called Occo Flex.
I don't know. I've not seen him enough yet.
Do you know what I found weird about Occo Flex? He's been on the bench the last 3 or 4 games and didn't get on. And then Sonny Perkins.
They brought Sonny on, haven't they?
Got put
twice.
On. I can't work it out. Sorry. Oh, hang on a minute. Claire and Nick have been texting each other, haven't they? Oh, hello. Claire says, I would take him over Lingard all day long. Oh,
there you go. See?
Oh, here we go. They've got a back channel going.
She knows her onions.
As soon as he made her an administrator on a Facebook page.
Yeah, that's it. Back channels on Messenger.
Brown envelopes and all that fun, you know what I mean? Mitrovic is scoring for fun with Fulham. He certainly is. I like this joke. James Bond. Is Oxoflex same meat, different gravy? Oh, that's brilliant. Oh. And then I think this is where Gary could be arrested because he did.
Yeah, cheers, Nigel. I like him young and pasty.
In his mind, he likes them like that, but not in reality.
Careful.
Oh, hang on.
This is getting to the region of me publishing Premier League.
Was dog shit. Controversial, Nigel.
He's having a go at your passengers, your celebrity passengers, John.
Because he's just on me all day long. All day long. I have this game.
Dog shit in his last season, possibly, but not before that.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah.
Got us promoted.
He tipped well, didn't he? He tipped well. Right, let's move on.
Have we still bought anyone? No, we ain't. Okay, moving on.
No, we haven't bought anyone.
Man United.
That's absolutely fine. Okay, so let's move on to the game of the weekend. So the big top 4 dogfight at Old Trafford on Saturday at 3:00. West Ham face off away at batshit mental Man United. What we'll do, we'll have a nice little chat about Man United, move on to West Ham, and how we think that we're going to shape up against them. So, Man U, as you can see, they're sitting 7th in the league, just 2 points behind us in 4th place on 35 points. They do have a game in hand, but a win for West Ham does give us some breathing space. Of the 7 teams in this fight for the top 4, Man United, if I'm honest, they're the side that I fear least. They really are. As you can see from their recent results, Ranić has settled them down, but they're still a crazy team, aren't they? Only so much a manager can do in this situation. It's a squad full of egos, and the team for me, for all their stars, they're just not all that. They need the opposite of new signings. Man United needs stripping back to the bare bones so that a manager can almost start again. But good luck getting rid of some of these players with the money that they're on. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I expect us to beat Man United. In fact, the odds are that we lose when you consider the our defensive shortfalls at the moment. But do I fear Man United? And would it be a massive shock if we beat them at Old Trafford? No, it wouldn't. I mean, we're more than capable of beating this Man United side. We genuinely are. Now, in the last 4 games, results for them have not been convincing. Ranić have tried. He's tried some fucking weird shit formations against Wolves, which was reliant on some fucking counter press all over the park. Well, good luck with that, Ralph. With a team full of lazy fuckers, because that's what you've got. They lost against Wolves. They should have been absolutely hammered in that game. And then they were rescued by VAR against Villa in the FA Cup before throwing away an undeserved 2-goal lead again against Villa in the league just 5 days later. And that was a game where Ranić binned that fucking press formation, which was never going to work, and he reverted to a more conventional shape, similar to what we play, I suppose, probably more of a 4-3-3. And they did the same against Brentford. A 3-1 win, a result that completely flattered them, because for anyone that watched it, because Brentford were carving them open at will, and they should have scored a hatful. But I expect Ranić to stick with that shape on Saturday, as he can't keep changing it. And we can beat them. They've got weaknesses all over the park, especially in defence. They're iffy when defending set pieces, as it looks like they're doing, I don't know, zonal marking, or they're doing a bit of a mix between zonal and I'm not too sure what they do, but it's just not sinking in for their defenders, and they're struggling. Ronaldo's been in the media saying stuff that he shouldn't be saying. He's a bit of he's coming across as a bit of an entitled twat. And he, I know, and he kicked off when Ralph removed him against Brentford. And look, let's be honest, they have, for Man United, they have got big problems. But that said, they do possess a massive threat in the attacking third. We know who they are, and we know we do have to hope that our defence have a better game, because Souček, you would hope he's going to be back, but Moyes is playing coy. In my mind, I think he'll be back. We need Rice and Souček, I think, with Lanzini or Fornals and Fornals in the 10, so that we've got creativity in the ranks as well as solidity. So with that said, John, what are your thoughts on Man United this season in general?
Obviously massively underachieving. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that they bought Ronaldo, which seems strange because he's their top scorer. But the problem with them buying Ronaldo was they bought Ronaldo to stop him going City. And I think that's had a little bit of a knock-on effect because it stopped players like Rashford, Greenwood getting as much game time as they should. Okay. When I look at our two teams on paper, I think our midfield is better than their midfield. And I think that's where the game can be won or lost. I know defensively we're not particularly great at the moment. And I know actually defensively, even though they've got one of the best in the world, Rafael Varane, they're not great in defence at the minute. And I think that's more to do with the fact of who they partner with Varane. But when I look across our midfield, I think our midfield is better than theirs on paper and in reality. I mean, to me, I must say, McTominay has impressed me this season. He's got better, right? But I still think that in the centre, I still think Rice and Souček are better than Fred and McTominay.
Although Ranić has turned Fred into fucking Pirlo in the last few games.
Well, yeah, he's got better as well. But I just think that the obvious threats for them are, Rashford's not on song. He might not even play. Maguire was on the bench against Brentford, not playing, so he doesn't seem to fancy Maguire either, possibly. I think we can win the game. I think there'll be goals in the game because both defences are not particularly great. Whether we can win or not, I don't know. I don't fear Man United like I used to, like you said. Mm-hmm. But there's always that in the back of my mind.
There isn't that fear factor anymore. That's gone, isn't it? I think that is gone.
But there still is that element. There is still that element in my mind, probably because of Man United in days gone by, when you sort of fear the beast, the wounded beast. And
yeah.
They beat Brentford, but like you said, Brentford in my mind,
Brentford should have fucking that. They should have. Yeah. I think they should have beat them. Well, even though Man U scored 3 goals.
Yeah, they probably maybe not beat them.
Well, Brentford had more shots for a start. That was one thing. They had more shots on target. Their possession was down, but they dominated the game, as we would call it.
They did.
Yeah.
But the quality of Man United's finish, as you'd expect from a £1 billion squad, was the killer. And that's what we've got to watch out for because we've seen it against big teams before. When they make that final shot, they will get it. And that's what Brentford failed to do. Brentford did not do that. And Man United, that was an interesting game because it was our next game. I watched that quite a bit and I thought, well, they've got 3 goals against the run of play, but they did have they were the ones closest to getting the goal. Brentford weren't closest to getting the goal.
That's the difference. Man United have got players who can put the ball in the back of the net in the blink of an eye, right? They've got a good set of attacking players and they've got options from the bench to bring on as well. It's going to be a tough game. But I think it's, it is a winnable game as long as we go in the right way. And as long as we've got, I really like the way you described it earlier, playing with a false 9, Nick, because I think dominating the midfield is key to this game. And if we do that, and if we're solid at the back, then anything can happen. I think we can definitely score against them, and we can definitely bother them on set pieces because we're one of the best teams in the league at set pieces.
You always fear Ronaldo. That's a given, right? Because even
he's 50-50 at the moment.
Yeah, but even at his most petulant, he still scores goals, right? That's what he does, right? At the end of the day, he's 36. He's still the top scorer there. However, the other player that I really fear when he's on song is the obvious one is Bruno Fernandes. So I think that packing out the midfield, again, I'm agreeing with Nick. This is getting ridiculous. But packing out the midfield, to me, we've already got a strong midfield.
It makes sense.
It does make sense. I totally agree.
Because in the last 2 games, because Fernandes plays a 10, that's where he plays, right? But you can see that what Ranić's done is he's made him sit deeper because I think that, and that's why people like Fred and McTominay have looked a little bit, but not McTominay's a good player. But I think Fred's looked better as well because I think Fred he struggles to operate in a 2. He does. He gets exposed. But with and that's what I mean. I think we're almost going to have to match that up, and we can match that up because Fernandes is a world-class player. Well, do you know what? People might not agree with me. On his day, Lanzini's a world-class player. I think he uses the ball as well as anyone else. And what you've got, if Rice and Souček are sitting, we've got that solidity. And then you've got Lanzini, who he can use the ball. He can make good decisions. And if you've got Fornals in there as well, so they're doing that, I think. And then you've got that sort of attacking threat, that pace on the from the wide areas. I don't know. I'm sure Moyes knows an awful lot fucking more than me. And all I hope is that we come out and we give it a go against them, because they are not to be respected at the moment. They're not. I think you come out and you go at them. That's what you do.
Yeah, I agree. It's possible, and we're going to do a prediction before we do the squad selector.
No. Well, we're not there yet. We're not there yet, because there's one more thing. David Moyes did come out in the aftermath of our loss against Leeds, and he blamed the fact that we'd played a midweek game before playing Leeds, and that they had a rest. Well, this is a reverse situation. Man United have played the midweek game. So my question is to Gary: was David Moyes a bit sloppy with that excuse when we're about to be faced in a reverse scenario in a massive fixture just a week later? Has he made a rod for his own back?
No, I don't think so. I was going to mention this, actually, and I think it will show in Man United's legs that they've played a hard game a couple of days ago. All right, they got the right result out of it. But then again, when we played, we got the right result, didn't we, on the Wednesday? And then come the weekend, we were knackered, and that was a Sunday, not a Saturday. This is a Saturday, so this is going to be even tougher for Man United.
You could argue they've got a deeper squad and they can cope with it better.
They have got a deeper squad, but again, I think their team. Listen, I wouldn't mind playing a B team like we played in the League Cup, but I don't think they will do that. I think he'll play his strongest team, and those players in his strongest team will have a game in their legs from a couple of days ago. And so I don't think he's made a rod for his own back. I think he was just being truthful. We all saw it. The team were knackered. They were knackered. I don't think it's a great excuse, but I think it is an explanation.
The obvious one, right? It's the obvious
one. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, look. Well, that's enough about Man United anyway. On to the mighty Hammers. Off the back of a bad result against Leeds, I think playing away in a game where we're the underdog, I think it's a good thing at the moment. I think we don't have the same pressure. We can get out there, get at them. I think we can show them no respect, and we can go for it. And that's what I want to see. And like I've already said, but I don't know. We do have some concerns over key players that we were expecting to return. Yeah. And to be honest, from what we've just read, there's no guarantees that Souček is going to be back. It looks like Zuma's not going to be back. There's rumours that Benny, isn't going to be back as well.
Benny definitely isn't back.
Benny is definitely back.
Oh. No, definitely not. That was confirmed this afternoon.
Yeah, well, there you go. So in that respect, when you let's assume that Souček and Zuma and Benny are still not available. What are your thoughts?
I think Zuma and Souček are 50-50
could be available.
Looking at it, because people are quoting Moyes from last weekend about Zuma, and that's no longer.
I thought it was at the press conference today. I thought it was today's press conference.
They quoted what Moyes said last weekend. Football.London. They were using quotes from last weekend to predict what was going to happen tomorrow, and that's not the case. Right. So, and Moyes has kept that close to his chest. So Zuma's been back in training, which we've seen the videos for.
Yeah, I saw some videos today, actually. Yeah.
But of course, what we don't know is whether he's had enough actual, physical training, because he did have 6 days out with COVID. So that's the issue, I guess.
I think. I mean, personally, I think Souček is going to start. I think Moyes is going to be desperate for Souček to start. Zuma's another question altogether, but at least with Zuma and Rice in there, you've got a bit of defensive protection, and that's what we lacked against Leeds, wasn't it?
Is there an argument for rushing Zuma back though?
Well, there kind of is, but then again, I don't know. I personally wouldn't rush him back, because it's most important that he's fit for the Watford game.
Yeah, because that's. I mean, so yeah. I get that.
It's the 6 days of not training is the issue, isn't it, for Zuma?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. So he's come back. He's come back from the injury, but he hasn't been able to get up to speed with the 6 days because of COVID on top of that. So he may not get a reoccurrence of the injury that he picked up, but he may get one of those muscle injuries or hamstring, where he's not.
He's been training since Monday, John. So Moyes will know whether he's okay or not.
Yeah, of course he will. Yeah, of course he will. But there is always that argument. The problem is, if he comes in and gets injured, people will go, "Oh, you rushed him back," so he can't win.
Exactly.
So look, let's get to the lineup selector anyway. My thoughts are, I think that Moyes has got to match, not even match. I think he's almost got to counter Man United's strength at the moment, and their strength in the last few games has been in their central midfield. McTominay, Fred, and Fernandes is especially when Fernandes plays deeper. That is quite a formidable central midfield. So I think that Moyes has got to counter that and almost overrun it, and that's why I suggested, going for that sort of false nine. I don't see. We've seen it on many occasions where this strikes me as a type of game where Antonio could just get isolated, because I think if we play, I don't want to see him as a target man. I'd rather play balls into channels for him to chase.
No, that's a good point.
Get him attacking a fullback. And then you've got the likes of Fornals, who we saw last at the weekend. He can fucking finish. Lanzini can finish. We've got these players from Souček surging from deep. He can finish. So I think we need to utilise that pace. And for me, let's overload the centre of the pitch. So for me, what I'm going to suggest is if you're all in agreement, because it's shaped first. So I think 4 at the back. I think it's going to be the 2 holding midfielders, and then I think for me, I'm going to go for that false 9 system where you've got Lanzini and potentially Fornals in front with the wide players. But so that's the shape that we're going to go for. So starting in the chat, let's start with the goalkeeper. Who do you think that we should play? Because for me, if Zuma is back, Dawson's been carrying an injury for an awful long time. We've always been talking about this French triangle. I'm keen to see it. I think that Diop would be better alongside a leader, and I'd like to see him have a good game. I actually would. I think he had a fucking stinker in the last one. He got booed off. I would like to see him have a good game. Whether or not it's the right game to play him in, I don't know. But
I think that's a really good management approach, actually, to have Diop, Zuma, and Areola. And I do understand you going for that. I don't think it'll happen, but it's a bit of a risk. And I totally get why you're going for it, and I would have a go at the same.
I think if you're looking at a predictor though, as in what do we think he's going to start with?
I think he'll change a few things, Gal. I think there's going to be a few changes in this one. I do. He still hasn't won in a league game at Man United for 15 attempts. He hasn't.
You've got to bear in mind Zuma, Souček, and Fornals is 3 changes already.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need
and he's always played Zuma and Dawson and Fab. So
but then Moyes today did sort of he sort of poured a little bit of water over Zuma, didn't he? Because he did say it was a big injury, and he did say that the COVID has affected him, and he sort of alluded to that it's a big decision. And if you highlight,
John, he said that last weekend. He didn't mention Zuma today.
That was just, Chris. That was at the recent press conference. He said
that. He said that
I didn't hear that. I watched that, and I didn't hear him talk about Zuma at all today.
That's what I read.
Last weekend he did, because he'd had COVID. He hasn't had COVID for over a week. Remember.
Okay, I'll stand corrected. That's what I've read on the.
Because I watched it on the way from Stoke to Derby.
Yeah, John's read the same thing as me.
Forget the in the nose. Get it from the source.
No. It's
get it from your ketchup.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, well let's because look, I think we need to pin our hopes on because look, Man United's threat is all in attack. I'm not worried about anywhere else. So. Let's start with the goalkeeper. For me, look, Fabianski signed his additional 1-year contract now. I think that might have been why he was keeping him on, because we need him. Areola, we've now got to fucking flirt with this guy to get him to sign, because he's impressive, and I think he's going to be our number 1. So for me, I'm going to put Areola in goal in this game.
As a prediction or your choice?
No. I'm predicting. I think he's going to do it. What do you think?
No, I don't.
I think it'd be Fabianski.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, okay.
No, we're not saying you're wrong. We're saying what we think.
No, I think I would play the same. I would play the French triangle. I really like that idea, but I don't think Moyes will do it.
Because what's been frustrating me at the moment, and all the points are valid, and that is around why, because Fabianski's performances have not been great recently, and we kind of have said before. oh, but who would be great behind that defence? But then you think, do you know what? Sometimes we've had it before. Sometimes a defence isn't great when they've got a goalkeeper that isn't decisive. Fabianski doesn't come off his fucking line anymore. I think he used to more than he does now. I don't think he's as commanding as he once was.
No, he's not, Nick. You ain't got to sell it to us, right? I think Areola should be playing, but I don't think he's going to play. Sorry, Nigel's just going to correct you a little bit, Chris, because he said no, it was today, and he said it was the press conference for the paper media.
That's what I saw. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
And Chris, you said Nigel's always right, so
yeah, I'll take. That's what I'm saying. I'll take that, but that's not what I heard on YouTube.
Yeah, no,
and YouTube's always right.
I must admit, I didn't see the press conference, but I saw the what do you call it? The
text updates.
Yeah, I saw that, and he that's what I saw anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. So
see tomorrow.
Fabianski's in. I'm putting Zuma in. I'm not even going to ask you. I'm putting Zuma in.
Well, it's 50-50 in it, so I'd put him in. Yeah.
If he can play, he should play.
Yeah. Is he going right or left?
He's got to go left.
Yeah.
He's
got to be right
because it ain't gonna, listen. It ain't going to be Diop. I would love to see Diop because of the way he was dragged off. I'd love to see him giving another game.
Yeah, I agree.
Give him his confidence back. And he's played well at Man United before as well. He's got good memories of that place a couple of times, including in the League Cup. So, but it's going to be Zuma and Dawson, and Dawson's going to be playing on the right, forcing Zuma to play on the left.
Yeah, but Dawson's been carrying a fucking injury now. They've been saying for about a month.
Yeah, we don't know what the injury is, though, do we? He might just have a funny nail or something. I'd love to know what. I've watched this guy for the last few weeks live, and I've not seen him once wince or do anything.
Man, look, we've got to be more dynamic than this because we've had problems in defence. And do you know what? I don't.
Nick.
That's because he's a £2 million ex-Watford defender.
Nick, you're disappointed because Dawson's in there. At the end of the day, you're saying Dawson's been carrying an injury, but he hasn't had the shambles of the performances that Diop's had. But you're
all I'm saying, but John, you said it yourself before, okay?
Yeah, what?
With Diop, I felt gutted for him after that last game because I thought that was an accumulation of bad performances. It was a typical example of somebody that needed to be taken out of the fucking firing line, but you couldn't because we ain't got no backup. And the same with Antonio when he was getting shit. And that, I said to you in the last game, I think with that performance that he had, how do you play him again? Well, what I would do, I would fucking play him again and I'll put him back in this game. That's what I would do.
I would as well.
Yeah, but you just said take him out. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but what I'm saying is you're contradicting it.
With Zuma, with a leader, I would put him in with Zuma. That is what I would do.
Okay. All right, okay.
We agree.
Yeah, I would as well, but I don't think Moyes will.
Yep.
And this is a predictor.
It becomes a little bit about reliability. Moyes likes players.
Moyes, we really need to have two charts on this segment of the show. So we have our prediction, our choice, and the Moyes prediction.
It gets a little bit difficult. Yeah.
Look quickly. I'll put them back. Let me tell you what I would play now. Quickly, this is what I would play. First of all, I'd have Fredericks on the right as a right back to give us pace against whatever fucking speed demon they've got bombing down that right hand side. Soufal hasn't been great for a little while now. I love Fredericks whenever he played. He had a good game against Man United in that 10 minutes before.
Alanga's not that quick.
Yeah, but for me, obviously, no brainer.
Fredericks would take him.
No brainer. You got him now. I probably would play.
Mason Greenwood against Vessel.
Hang on, where's all the players gone? Where's Rice? I've lost Rice.
Oh, we're dropping him. Rice. We're resting Rice.
Potato salad's back. I'm bringing him in. We need potato salad today.
Yeah, we do.
Right? So he's there. Lanzini, all day long. He's just been.
Oh, you right there, Nick?
No. Lanzini, where's bring him in. So, like I said to you, it's a case of like that. Bowen on the right, and I would play Antonio on the left as inside.
Yeah, no wonder Cuffley under 14s are flowing in a minute, innit? You know what I mean?
No, look, what I'm saying is them as inside forwards, not as fucking wingers that have to track back and be second fullbacks all the time. They are attackers.
Where's the striker?
No. They're outside. They're inside forwards. They're inside. Like Chris said earlier on, like the Salah and Mane thing. But you've got Rice and Souček. Now Rice, I love him. I love him surging forward. In this game, we're going to need him defending with Souček, both of them. But then you've got the creativity of Fornals and the workmanship as well, because they both work hard. Fornals and Lanzini both work hard. Right, so they'll both put in a competent shift as well, and they've got creativity. And then you've got that sort of pace up front. That's what I would do. Personally.
Can I just interject though? Moyes is not as maybe the word would be pragmatic as you. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
I don't think that's pragmatic. I don't think that's pragmatic though. I don't think that's pragmatic.
That's quite unusual. That's for Moyes. That is like very unusual. That's
radical.
Listen, John. When you're attacking, it's going to be like that. Either Lanzini or Fornals. So it's going to be a free. So when you're attacking, so it's only
and that's the Man City analogy. Exactly, spot on. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, but you're going up against Fred, who's turned into fucking Superman for some reason, McTominay, and Bruno Fernandes in the middle. So you've got to match that up. That's my main concern.
It's Bruno Fernandes. You don't pronounce it's Fernand.
All right, Fernand. Sorry, mate. But anyway, that's what I'm going to say. So,
it's probably going to be 4-2-3-1 as usual.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's we're defending.
I think this time, Nick, it will be Fornals on the left. This is my opinion. Fornals on the left, Bowen on the right.
Yeah.
Lanzini in the middle, and Antonio up front.
Yeah.
And I think that's because Fornals and Bowen give good, ample defensive cover. I agree about Fredericks. Fredericks, for me, must play this game.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will.
Soufal will, absolutely. But I like the idea.
Again, that's another one. I don't get it. I don't get it. He's been Soufal, right? Soufal was at his best, and I'm telling you this now. He was at his best when we had Lingard and we was playing that quick counter-attacking football. At the moment, do you know what he does? I don't know if you noticed it in that last game. It's like he can't when he's in possession of the ball. If there ain't a forward pass on, he'll still play the forward pass. He'll still just hoof the fucking thing into the channel. It ain't like he'll reset and try and play it back. And there was so many sort of misplaced passes from him where we lost. Again, I don't think he's an intelligent player. I
don't disagree with you. He's been poor lately by his standards, but look, Moyes gave Arthur a lot of opportunities, didn't he? Before he dropped him, he's loyal, whether you like it or not. He won't start Fredericks. I don't disagree with you. I agree with you, in fact. But he will play Soufal there, in my opinion.
Yeah, me as well. I'd like to see Fredericks. I just don't think Moyes will start.
Well, that's fucking.
No, I agree. He'll start Soufal.
He's getting young with us, not us. Is Moyes.
And again, Soufal doesn't usually play as badly as he did against Leeds. Let's give him a bit of credit.
Yeah, he ain't been good. He ain't been good this season, Gal. He had a decent game against fucking Norwich. He had a decent game in that game.
Yeah. But I think, if we're doing a predictor and predicting what we think Moyes will pick, I think if all the players are fit tomorrow, I think that's the side he plays.
Well, do you know what that means is if you play Soufal and Cresswell, this is the way that we're going to be attacking half the time. You're going to have fucking Fornals back here, you're going to have Bowen back here, and you're going to have Lanzini in here, and you're going to have Antonio up front, and we're going to be spending half the fucking time defending. And then people complain when Declan Rice gets the ball in this area, what's he driving for? Because there ain't no cunt in front of him.
Antonio is isolated.
Because there ain't no one in front of him. So he's trying to carry the team up with him. Because if he gives the ball to fucking Souček, Souček's going to run around in circles with the ball for a minute and he's going to give it back to him.
2 hours, 23, he's lost it. Why did you
It's happening again. It's happening again.
Yeah. I think
what's he driving with the ball for? Why don't he just sit in fucking TDM? Fuck off.
Was that a David Sullivan impression? That was nearly as good as Canning Town Len's Sullivan impression then.
Honestly, I don't get it. He gets slated because he carries the team up the pitch. I don't get it. It drives me mad.
Anyway, look. if that team plays,
John's crying.
if that is our usual formation, and if we're in an attacking frame of mind, it means that when we're defending, this is the formation we've got. But when we're going forward, then those players push up the pitch, right? And the fullbacks push up behind them. That's why it should work. But I think we might be a bit defensive tomorrow. And I hope we are. We need to be solid. We need to be solid because Man United can score in the blink of an eye. They've got the players to do it. So primarily, we've got to be solid because we've come off of a couple of games now where we ain't been that solid. Let's be honest. Going back to Palace, going back to the other games as well, we have been leaking a lot of goals. So it would be good to tighten up ourselves defensively, but also when we're springing forward to take players with us and not just have Antonio stranded up front by himself.
Does it not play into our hands the fact that, we always say when we have to be the aggressor, we struggle. Obviously, you'd imagine Man United at home, they're going to be the aggressor, so we can hit the counter attack. It's going to play into our hands, surely, no?
Oh, it does. We are a counter-attacking team, and but only when we counter-attack with pace, because recently a lot of our counter-attacking, especially at home, has been slow.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and also very, very inaccurate. You look at we weren't stringing more than 3 passes together against Leeds on Sunday.
Yeah.
We have got to stop that. If they hard press us, which the bigger teams don't, but if they do, we're going to be in the same problem again. But players like Elanga and all those guys, they're not hard pressers. They want to attack. Yeah, they don't really want to do all the pressing jobs.
James has come up with something here, which I agree with. And look, listen, I haven't got anything. I haven't got anything against Soufal. I haven't. I happen to think in this game. I just really rate Fredericks. I always have done. I think if it hadn't been for his injuries, I think he would have been a regular player.
Yeah, definitely.
But I agree with that.
Yeah, he'd have had the experience.
I think Johnson is. I don't know. I think he's the future. Soufal, like I say, I think he's limited. I think he's a brilliant player. He was a brilliant signing. Yeah. But for me, against these better teams, you look at that, right? You've got Dawson, Soufal, and Cresswell. That is a slow ass defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, same here. And I would much rather see. I really like Fredericks, and I always have done. And I'd like to see him playing at right back when he's fit, because I think he offers such a threat going forward. He's not the greatest defender in the world. I think Soufal is a better defender than him, but I think going forward, Fredericks offers us so much. So, and for pace,
and he has learned as well. You saw him the other day, and he is he's a much better forward threat than he was even a year ago.
Yeah, he is. And if he's got pace, if we've got pace running at us, which we will have tomorrow, then having somebody to negate that pace, like Fredericks, because he does not get beaten by anybody in a foot race, then I think it would be sensible. But I just don't think it'll happen. I just think a couple of changes is too many for Moyes, and that's what we'll. Yeah.
I do agree with James though that if it's not Soufal, I do think it will be Johnson.
Yeah. I would accept that, because I think Johnson is. I think Johnson's our best defensive right back.
Yeah, he's safe, isn't he?
Defensive, I think he's our best defensive right back. He's superb. He's
he's hesitant going forward, but as a left back, he is solid.
Yeah, he ain't getting roasted. Right, you ain't going to see Johnson getting roasted by anyone. I don't think. I think he's a really good,
he's a clever lad.
Really good player. But
I like it.
So anyway, you fucking burst my bubble. So is that what we're going for?
Well, I think that's a good prediction. If the players are fit, that will be the team, in my opinion.
Should you just quickly go through some of the comments in the chat just very quickly?
Yeah, I apologise everyone for using the C button.
No. So Fabs is 36. We've got to look to the future after this season. Yeah, we probably have.
Yeah,
you three are breaking Nick's hearts with this lineup. Diop was crap last week, and I was harsh on him, but he needs to get back on the horse. A bit like what you were saying.
Yeah, agreed.
I totally agree with that. He is a quality player.
I do agree, but he's had a few bad games. I just think that once again, Nick, you and Claire she was confirming that she predicted the team.
Oh, that back channel is in operation.
It's unbelievable. Paul Riley's got a massive head. You ain't met Nick up front, mate. Jesus Christ.
Kral is such a weird thing, isn't it? It's such a weird thing.
Nothing wrong with my head, John. You're like a real life Minecraft character, mate.
Nick, people are calling for your Sushek impression, Nick. You've become an impressionist now.
Go back to the fridge.
Love it when Nick goes off on one. Yeah, well, you wouldn't do after 35 years, and Gary's had it longer than me, his brother.
I didn't mean to.
It's a joke. That's all the comments, really. Yeah, no,
Right.
I think the team. It's obvious, really, isn't it? Again,
Should we?
Premier League predictor.
Yeah. Let's go to that.
All right, okay. Well, look. Do you know what? Even though you picked that shit team, I'm still confident for the weekend.
Oh yeah, it's all our fault.
Where's the donkeys? Nigel said. Well, yeah, no
reviews,
donkeys yet.
Nigel, reviews.
Yeah.
Right, I've made it bigger. I've biggered it so we can see what's going on. Hang on, I'm gonna have to refresh it first.
Did you say you've biggered it?
I biggered it.
Oh my God, he's like my kid.
I biggered it.
It's from a film that you may not have seen, where a bloke's holding a little gun called Four Lines.
I'll tell you what. How bad are Watford
Lines.
losing 3-0 at home to Norwich?
I know, that's why I couldn't keep my eyes off it. Unbelievable. Own goals, a whole lot. That was you want to watch the highlights of that later. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
There was a floodlight failure as well, apparently.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Unbelievable.
Right, Christopher Berg, Everton versus Aston Villa. What are you going for?
1-1.
Ooh.
Oh, fucking.
I've thought about this all day. When driving.
You know what we're going to do as it's a special occasion, because we are going to do 2 weeks this week.
Oh, what's a special occasion?
We're doing 2 weeks. Right, Brentford versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Gary, come on.
0-2.
0-2. Oh, not.
You can't tab across again. His tab ain't working. Jesus Christ.
Press the wrong button.
Bloody
Johnny boy. Leeds versus Newcastle.
I'm going to say 2-1 Leeds.
Oh, I like that. Don't think that's going to happen, though.
Well, you said that last
I'm going to go Man United, West Ham. This is mine, right? This is what I think is going to happen. Man United 1. West Ham 4.
You just slagged off the formation and starting lineup. Now we've won.
I know that's how
I don't think Moyes is as negative as you three. That's why. Right.
What?
Right. Southampton versus Man City. Chris.
0-3.
Oh fucking hell! I can't do nothing.
Cab.
Jesus Christ! It's like a line, Nick. Even though I know that, and I drive a cab.
God.
Right. Gary, go on. Palace versus Liverpool.
1-3.
8.
Oh no, it's not Scouts. Arsenal versus Arsenal fam versus Burnley FC.
Yeah, fam. Yeah, I think that. You know what I mean? I think Arsenal are going to get 0. Yeah, and Burnley are going to get 1.
Oh, that's right.
Controversial.
No, I think Arsenal are poor. They might have played. I think Arsenal are poor. I still think Arsenal.
Burnley are going to score against Arsenal, but it would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Right, Christa Berg, Leicester versus Brighton and Hove Albion.
Oh, what? Do you know, Leicester on a bit of a suicide run at the moment. 1-2.
Ooh.
And Brighton are on the they're a creepy team, aren't they?
Right. But another bit of a dog shit derby here. Go on, Gary. Go on, Chelsea.
Yeah, go on, Gaz.
5-1.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go 6. Legs. Right, hang on. Calculate
these predictors have no relevance when you get to the Tottenham team. It's just. Our friend at the show.
I know, we're just trying to get rid of that goal difference and everything, aren't we?
Right, last one. Right. Okay, I'm going to go to Christa Berg once more. Right, Newcastle versus Everton. Go on.
1-1. 1-1.
I think Everton are going to start winning under Big Dunk.
Nah, not yet. It'll take them another couple of weeks, I reckon.
I think they will as well.
Right, Gary, go on. The mighty.
Right, come on. This has got to be a good game.
3-0.
3-0.
Yeah, I think that's good.
If they lost at home to Norwich, my God.
Yeah. 3-0 against Norwich.
Right, John, Burnley versus Man U.
1-0 Burnley.
Really?
Yeah,
Local
I think.
derby.
Let me tell you something. Let me
Do you
tell
know,
you something.
Burnley have done that in the past.
Let me tell you something about Burnley, right? Every season they're in relegation battle. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche knows how to get them out. And one time they turn it around. They just start winning a few little games here and there. And they turn it around against the big teams.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, I'm going to go 5-0 Man City. Sorry. Right. Okay, Chris. Norwich versus Crystal Palace.
0-3.
0-3.
Palace will absolutely slap them. Conor Gallagher with a hat trick.
Yeah. Right, Gary, don't fuck around. Tottenham against Spurs.
0-7.
0-4.
Okay, that's good.
So little bias in any of this.
Right, John, Villa versus Leeds.
2-0 Villa.
2-0.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, I'm going to go.
Why do we do this? We never check our results back.
I know we don't do it. I was just thinking that.
We're never really close either. Right, Wolverhampton. Go on, Gary. No, John, I'll go to you again. Go on, Wolves versus Arsenal.
1-0 Wolves.
Okay, and we're going to go. I'll go to Chris, the guest, for the last
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
So where are we going to be after the Watford game then?
Third.
Like that bastard. There we
Still
go.
We're going to be pushing.
Look how many. Look
at Wolves. Get in there, son.
6 points clear. Look where Spurs are. Look at them fucking sliding down a table.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? Have you noticed their goal differences took a big pounding? I wonder why. Most friend of the show, Sean. I bet he's watching. I bet he's very angry.
Right. Okay.
Can't believe what you've done to Tottenham. That's brilliant.
Right. So predictions for tomorrow.
I just went 4-1. Right. I can't change it.
No, I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham.
You nick my score. I'm going to go 3-2 then West Ham. Chris.
2-2. And I would be delighted with 2-2.
Are you going, Chris? You got
obviously.
Legend.
Chris, just round corner.
You're going to have an amazing day.
Corner, isn't it, lad, from my lad's house. Fantastic.
Chris, you're going to have an amazing day. And what I want, because we're going to do a review tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, we'll do the video at the end.
I'll do a video. I want a buoyant review, right? I do. It's going to be amazing. We're going to
there'll be quite. There's a load of us meeting before and after as well. It'll be brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. Good stuff. Right, okay. Football friends. Right, go on, Gal.
Right. Well, so let me clear my throat. So, on the day we lost Meatloaf, David Moyes was a massive fan, as he said in his press conference this afternoon. He said, "I'd do anything for love." And someone said, "What? Sign a striker?" And he said, "No, I won't do that."
You nicked my.
He nicked John's joke.
Oh dear God!
So for everyone in the chat, John sang that down a WhatsApp message earlier on.
That's
beautiful, wasn't it?
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
I'll play it.
Right. So thank you all for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Thanks to everyone who contributed to the chat. We love reading the comments. Keep them coming. Thanks, Chris, for jumping in to back up Dave. Mr.
You're welcome. Sorry for the copyright infringements, Premier League.
Thanks.
It was a technical error on my part.
And if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. Please also subscribe to Nigel's channel, 6foot2.co.uk. Tomorrow, we'll definitely be doing a match review, a happy match review to celebrate the win, maybe even a watch along if we can get our acts together. And we'll be back as usual next Friday as well at 9 for the next Claret and Booze Up. But that's us done. Thank you for watching. See you soon. And come on, you irons.
Hey, peanuts.